Hello, Voices of Wrestling listener. Dave Ryan here. Have you ever wondered to yourself how many hidden gems are hidden away inside the last years of World Championship Wrestling? Have you ever asked yourself how many tenuous gags can be made about the name Mike Enos? And have you ever thought about what it sounds like for two Irishmen to interpret a very chaotic company through its B show? The answers to all this and more are just a click away. Check out Days of Thunder every second Thursday on the Voices of Wrestling podcast network.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Thank you so much for supporting WWE and NXT and me. You're so sweet.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
Just like Bill Murray never gets to fuck Andy McDowell, we never get any resolution on anything in this fucking promotion. Not even War Games can end a feud in this company.
Rich Rage.
Every single time she comes out, he goes, I was there to help you. I was trying to help you. You know?
Because again, you have to be a simpleton to enjoy this stuff.
Statistically dumb and statistically poor. We should point that out.
Yeah, you're right. You have to be a simpleton to enjoy this because every time is the same.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
There's a lot to talk about this week.
Big week. Big week in wrestling, man. Yeah, tons of stuff going on. Stuff in Japan, stuff in WWE and AEW. MLW, of course. We're going to be going to the Oceania region for Grand Slam Australia. We'll be all over the place. All over the place this week on the Flagship.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. Goto.
Gotta start with Goto. Yeah, we gotta start with
WWE
Goto.
cuts. A lot of WWE cuts. Got some AEW cuts. We got some contracts running out in both companies. We got Ricky Starks debuting in NXT.
Well, somebody debuting in NXT. Somebody that used to be under the name of Ricky Starks, who may still be Ricky Starks, but we don't know if he's still going to be Ricky Starks. Like, we're not, you know what I mean? Like, we're not quite sure if he's Ricky Starks or not. The crowd seems to think he's Ricky Starks, but yeah, that debut was so interesting where he comes out. And, you know, the crowd's like, Ricky. He's like, yeah, you know who I am. And then the announcers just have to pretend like, oh, my God, it's that guy. And they don't say his name. And it's like, it's very weird. It's like, I fear that company usually has a guy's name before they debut him. But the silence in saying someone's name was deafening for sure.
Well, I guess we're not leading off with Goto.
Oh, well, I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah. No, well, you just did that. Well, we have to finish that now. I mean, we can't go back to that now. You just gave your entire
sure we can
dissertation on it.
Oh, sure we can.
How can we leave that hanging now? You just decided to give a take. Now that's it. Now we got it. This is like,
I can't stop giving takes though. I mean, come on, I'm not going to come on here and not give a take right out of the gates.
I was just running through topics and you just started giving a take. So now we're doing that topic, I guess, because that's happened before. We're like, we got a big show. We got a preview like WrestleMania or something. And then someone gives a take and all of a sudden we're reviewing
that take is the take. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that, right.
SuperFight MLW Fightland / SuperFight 6 is the lead topic out of nowhere.
Right. Some NWA show ends up being the lead topic because you start talking about it. So, how can you do all of that? You talked for like 30 seconds. That's the lead topic now. You can't just get away from that now. I thought the debut was very flat. And I think that WWE really dropped the ball on something potentially hot. And it really feels like it was more important to them to rush him on TV for the shock factor because he had only been released 2 days earlier or whatever it was, versus signing the guy if you want him and then taking a deep breath and saying, okay, well, what's the best way to maximize this?
Right. Or what's his name? Or what's his name might be a good one too.
Which is another clue as to the fact that I think they rushed it all, because they clearly don't have it sorted out what they're going to call him, what they can maybe legally call him. Maybe
they got all those new names. They could use one of those new names they got, those like 8 like horrific names that they recently got copyrights on.
I feel like they're probably going to use one of those horrific names, because
if
it was just if it was just open and shut that they were going to call him Ricky Starks, then why didn't they just call him Ricky Starks? They're being very careful about it. And there could be a number of different reasons why they would be careful about that. It could be, now look, he got released early from his contract from AEW. Okay. His contract wasn't supposed to, the contract didn't conclude until somewhere around June or something like that. That's been widely reported now, so I don't have any qualms, saying that. It's somewhere around the early summer. I think it was June. So they let him go early. So maybe there's conditions to that early release, right? And these are all things that we're going to have to find out as we move along. There's also a situation where, if you remember, there's some wrestlers who have come into WWE, used their names that they used previous to WWE, and then haven't been allowed to use them once they've left.
Right.
A good example of that is Kurt Stallion, who was Kurt Stallion before he got there, used the name Kurt Stallion while he was there, and is not allowed to use it anymore because whatever he signed, he must have signed the name over.
He signed his name over to them, and now he's Stallion Rogers and Stallion whatever, but he can never be Kurt Stallion again.
So this could be the kind of thing where, because this all came together very quickly. And just in the interest of full disclosure, I had one extremely brief conversation with Ricky Starks, and it didn't discuss any of this. It was just pleasantries back and forth after that. So I know nothing. This is all just my speculation. But because it all came together super fast, it could be a situation where they didn't have all that ironed out yet. They might have put something in front of them that said, we want the rights to the Ricky Starks name, and he could be like, whoa, hold on a second. I'm not sure if it could be a number of things why they didn't give him a name. Or it could be something as simple as they want to change his name, but haven't decided on one yet. Because again, this all came together so quickly. But yeah, it's very clear that what they're going to call him is very much up in the air. Okay. He, like you said, he did the whole, well, they all know who I am. Like that whole bit, right? Without saying it. The announcers didn't say a name. And CW tweeted out that Ricky Starks is here and then took it down a half hour.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know they did that. Okay, well, there you go. That's even more evidence. That's even more fuel to the fire.
Well, hey, get that down. And, that could have been. Now, look, obviously, when you have the same thing, the AEW on TBS account or whatever that one's called, when you have the old SmackDown on Fox Twitter account, I don't even know if that exists. I'm sure it's still a dead account somewhere. But those accounts aren't run by anybody in these companies. They're run by people at the networks who are promoting the show that's on their network. So that CW social media manager wouldn't have been privy to the fact that they didn't want to use that name. They just put out a tweet trying to promote the show because they knew who it was, right? So that's your tip-off that it was very much intentional that they didn't mention his name, and that none of WWE's socials have mentioned his name either, because CW deleted that tweet about 20, 30 minutes after they made it, which means someone told them to delete it.
Yeah.
So now, again, there could be numerous reasons, right? There could be things that need to be signed. Maybe they want rights to it. Maybe he doesn't want to give up the rights to it. Maybe he understands what's happened with people like Kurt Stallion and doesn't want to, or maybe, so who knows?
Jiro's one that the chat room was saying. Another great example is Jiro, who went there and gave that name, and now he's got to be Tokyo Kurosh, whatever the fuck, so he's got to change his name. There's multiple examples of this. I mean, it used to be if you had the name before you got there, they couldn't stop you from using it again. But I think what the company has done is
now they're presenting these talents with contracts that give them that sign over the rights to these names.
Right. You can keep your same name, but we own that name now, and people have to make that decision of, okay, I have all this momentum, I have all this cachet, I have all this brand with my name, and now I get to keep that name. I don't have to change it to whatever you guys give me. That's cool. But the flip side of that is, okay, when we release you or you leave or whatever, you've signed away the rights to that name to us. And yeah, it's a big risk, and it does not, for some guys, it very clearly didn't pay off. Kurt Stallion, I'm sure, very much regrets that decision. I'm sure Jiro regrets that decision too. The other guys definitely regret that decision.
Yeah, and I mean look, I'm speculating, but that could be very well what this is, and maybe he's thinking to himself, hey, you know what? Maybe because if this doesn't work out, I can't call myself, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, which is that's not his shoot name, by the way. For people who do not know, he's done a very good job of keeping his shoot name a secret. But Ricky Starks is not his shoot name. You won't find his shoot name online though, but it's not Ricky Starks. So.
Yeah, contrary to very common belief, that's not his name. And I'm glad you brought that up, because this may have been very confusing for people, because most people just think that's his name. That's not his name. Some other reporters, and I'm not going to say who, because I'm not trying to bury them or anything. It's just almost no one knows that that's not his name. So that's part of this confusion too, in that, that's a gimmick name, and he may want to retain. So who knows, that could be part of this, or, but anyway, circling back to the debut, I feel like WWE dropped the ball. I felt like this could have been something way bigger and way hotter. I feel like if he would have done something similar, or they would have done the same thing with him on Raw or SmackDown.
They have a pay-per-view this weekend, for God's sakes. They have Vengeance Day is this weekend, NXT Vengeance Day. Like, that's plenty of time to figure out what you're going to do, cross the T's, dot the I's. And you still get a little bit of the shock that, hey, within the same week that he was released, he's debuting in NXT. They wanted within the 48-hour period or whatever, and the result was, this kind of weird thing where nobody can say his name, and he can't say his name, and it's all just very, very strange.
Plus, I just think coming out in front of a couple hundred people on NXT, he came across like a much lesser of a star than he would have if he would have come out on the main roster. But they don't,
or came out in front of that, whatever crowd they get for their pay-per-view this weekend, which will be in a big arena or whatever. Yeah, coming out and debuting in that little tiny arena, and having it, the crowd was decently hot, but not like coming unglued for him. And I don't know, it was weird. It was definitely weird, and it felt but
it to me, and he, this was someone who had like that Penta potential of showing up, and then because those WWE fans, those main roster fans, they would have saw this as another win over the other team.
Yeah.
Just like with Penta, just like with Cody, just like with Jade, right? And it would have been something, to me, it would have been something super hot on the main roster, because we're in this war, this culture war, and they would have, and he became a martyr. The longer that Tony kept Ricky Starks out, the more of a martyr he became, and the more of a good guy he became in the eyes of the WWE fans, because they all assumed that he wanted to be there and was going to be there next. And by bringing him out on NXT and doing it this way, you threw all that away. You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. So to me, they threw away something hot. I would have put him on the main roster. He would have blown the roof off of any building, Raw, SmackDown, or pay-per-view, because of the reasons that I just laid out, as they, their fans would have saw it as a big win. Oh yeah, he is here, and, but it's very clear they don't see him as a main roster guy.
Right.
They see him as an NXT guy, or he wouldn't be in NXT. So, from that standpoint, I feel like I disagree with them. I think they blew an opportunity to do something that would have been much hotter on the main roster. And I feel like they just rushed it. And, and I've seen a lot of people say, well, it's better to start him on NXT because it's WrestleMania season and all the other programs and stories are in place. Okay, well, I have a very easy counter to that. Okay. Then start him after WrestleMania, if that's a big concern.
Right. It's like, work. Yeah.
What's the rush? I don't understand. Yeah. Like, what's the rush to get him on TV right now?
You gotta win the weekly war you gotta win the weekly PR war.
Perception.
Yeah, you gotta win the perception war every single week, every single day. It's a perception war.
See, this is even dumber to me. If he does a couple weeks in NXT and then they bring him up after WrestleMania.
I don't think
this is even.
I think he's NXT.
This isn't even.
I think he's an NXT guy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if the theory that these other people have is correct,
oh well, I think they're wrong. But yeah, but I see.
It's even dumber because why would you not just wait until after WrestleMania?
Correct.
When you know what I mean, instead of cooling them off, because all this does is it's going to cool them off, and all this does is it tells your fan base he's a developmental guy, he's an NXT guy, which all they did by doing it this way, whether it was intentional, whether they plan on putting him on the main roster, whether they plan on having him in NXT for the next 5 years, okay? All they did by doing it this way is immediately cool him off. Mm-hmm. He at the second he came out on NXT, he felt exponentially cooler than he did before he ever showed up in the company. Before he showed up in the company, it felt like it was going to be a super hot jump whenever he eventually showed up. He comes out on NXT, it's like you're letting all the air out of the balloon. On top of the fact that he didn't have his name sorted out and all the other issues around it. I thought WWE botched the fuck out of this. Anyway, that's my take. What do you think?
There you go. No, I agree. Yeah, I thought the segment wasn't very good. The promo was just kind of whatever. You know, I mean, it was a basic insert whatever Ricky Starks' name is going to be promo on NXT, and yeah, it's just coming out in front of that small crowd, and that small crowd making, you know, a decent amount of noise, but not crazy noise. It especially with them having a pay-per-view this weekend, it could have been so much more impactful. But yeah, he just kind of walks out there, and they're running into one of these things, and WCW was guilty of this after a while, where they would debut a new guy, and it would just be like, oh, who's that? Oh, here's that guy, and without any real thought, they just wanted to have a guy. They just had to have a guy debut. A guy had to be there and debut without any real thought of what we're going to do and what our plan is or whatever. And yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be, have to wake up and realize that they probably see him as an NXT guy, and that's got to be deflating for a lot of people.
Not probably. Well. He's in NXT.
Yeah, I mean,
they see him as NXT.
What's I mean, where people are like, well, maybe it's a no. They debuted Penta on WWE television in a big time spot. They debuted Jade, in big time spots. They're clearly making it obvious to you that this man is an NXT superstar right now, and that definitely. Definitely hurts as well if you're trying to play this, perception game or whatever is, but it runs into something that we've talked about a lot on the show, and we'll get to it when we talk about the cuts a little bit later. Is I wonder if WWE themselves is running into that issue that we talked about, you talked about with Ibu on the Flagship Plus, that you keep debuting guys from AEW and you keep putting them in big time spots. Eventually, those guys on the roster are going to start saying, "Well, hold on a minute. What the fuck? What? So the way to get a push is to leave, and then you guys hire me back? Because I'm here. I've been here for years, and now this guy jumps on in and leaps in front of me, and now he's ahead of me in the pecking order, and he's ahead of me in the pecking order, and she's ahead of me in the pecking order, and that has a shelf life. We've seen that with every wrestling company ever in any wrestling war. That eventually, when people are jumping back and forth, and whoever has that advantage and hires more people and is the place that more people want to go to, eventually the worm turns on that, and the people that are in that roster or on that roster before that were there for years ahead of time are now looking around and saying, well, what the fuck? Why are you pushing all those guys? What about my spot? What about my push? What about my, what about my TV time? Why is this guy? You told me this guy's from the show that we're kicking the show's ass. We're destroying these guys. And now you're bringing them onto our show. You just got done telling us for years that these guys don't know how to work and they're all, this and they suck and all this. Well, then you hire them and you give them a big push. What does it say about me? And then there's a shelf life to that.
That was the reverse. AEW was having that problem when they were hot.
Yep.
And bringing guys in, and that was sort of the same problem. And even the fans started to push back on that a little. I don't know if that's what this is. I think that if they see him as an NXT guy, because he's on NXT, I mean, that's clear. And I think they rushed all of this for some meaningless win in perception.
Right. They got like a 12-hour perception win, but now it's died down now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it fell flat, and I have to say, I felt like his heart wasn't in it. I didn't feel like
it was a boilerplate promo. That's the same promo he's done 1,000 times.
Not even. We've all seen Ricky Starks cut a highly emotional promo where his heart is in it. That was not what that was.
No.
I mean, you can go to examples of promos where, people will say the MJF promo. You don't even have to go back that far. Go to the promo he cut in Game Changer Wrestling when he came down the escalator. Remember that? I mean, that's where you know it's coming from the soul. You know what I mean? The promo he cut on NXT, I felt like his heart wasn't in that. You know, that might get me in trouble. That's how I felt. And if he asks me, that's what I'll tell him. I mean, and you know, I just feel like the whole thing came across a little flat, and it immediately took him down from the level they could have debuted him at. I really felt they dropped the ball.
Yeah, well, it's clear what level they see him at. And Suit Williams is in the chat right now, and he has a great point. He said Cody, Jade, and Penta, they got on the main roster because Paul thinks they're game changers. The other guys, Ethan Page, Shawn Spears, and Lexis King, they end up in NXT as good hands.
Yeah.
Not great.
This is, and if we needed, because this is a running theme on this show, if you need more evidence that Eric Bischoff is a total fraud. I mean, I don't know how many of our listeners need to be convinced of this.
But we must let you know again.
But listen, we don't know who's, you know, this tweet, if this were any other genre.
Oh my God, that tweet. I couldn't believe it. Oh my God, that tweet was so bad.
If this were anything else, this would be a complete credibility killer. For those who don't know, I'm going to read you Eric Bischoff's tweet verbatim.
It's so bad.
Quote, Starks is on a rocket. The subtleties in which he was introed engaged fans instantly and created momentum immediately. It's been done before, emoji of a smiley face with wearing sunglasses. In other words, he's saying, this is what I did in WCW with
right.
the Outsiders. But not better than this, end quote. All right, where do I even start? First of all,
the first couple lines are just boilerplate bullshit, like the subtleties at which they debuted him instantly.
What's that even mean?
What are you talking about? What subtleties?
What subtleties? He came out as a surprise, like thousands of other wrestlers have done before.
Yes.
Where are the subtleties involved in this? Eric's just saying things, okay? Engaged fans instantly and create a momentum immediately. Okay, whatever. That's just words. That's just stuff you say. And by the way, none of this has anything to do with Starks, with Ricky Starks, or a reflection of him. This is all Eric's stupidity.
Yeah, of course.
And he goes on to say, it's been done before, emoji, but not better than this. And he's saying that this debut was better and more impactful than Hall and Nash coming out on Nitro. I can't even. It would be like a waste of breath to compare those two things. And again, that's no disrespect to Ricky Starks. But what the fuck is this man talking about? If this doesn't just totally expose him as a complete fraud, nothing ever will. He'll say anything. This is proof that this fool will literally say anything to just ingratiate himself with not just the WWE audience, but more so the anti-AEW audience. That's what this is. This is just total, like, agree with me bait. This is just total, I'm going to tell them what they want to hear bait for people who hate AEW.
Right. And the replies are, yeah, you would know, Eric. Thanks so much for the NWO. You know what I mean? It's always the same.
Yeah.
God, have you ever
Always
looked at the replies? They're always the same. It's the same dudes that are like, thanks, Eric, love WCW, NWO4 Live. It's just like, go away. God.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I mean, I can like Ricky Starks doesn't think this was a better debut than Hall and Nash.
Scott Hall.
Right. What are we doing? You know?
Oh God.
You know who I am, Chico, but you don't know why I'm here. No, that's not what this was. The only similarity is they didn't use a name. I mean, geez. It's been done before, but not better than this. Yeah, I'm sure he who's yet to be named is going to take off like the NWO did. Can we stop, Eric? Can we stop?
Yeah, the first reply I see is, this felt like something you would have done. Gave me WCW nostalgia with Ricky randomly showing up. Happy for him finally coming to the big leagues.
The big leagues
of NXT.
It's NXT. Oh God. But that's what.
And sadly,
does.
that's only the beginning of our Eric Bischoff talk today. I hate to tell you guys, this is only one part of our Eric Bischoff discussion on this day because, my God, this man is taking over my MLW, and I do not like it. I am not happy about it. But we'll discuss MLW a little bit later. SuperFight 6, their latest YouTube special.
So much to talk about.
I don't want to talk anymore. Eric Bischoff. God, I forgot. I always forget that he's a part of it. And then it shows up, and it's like
it takes the air out of it.
I know, and this one they had like their like MLW intro, but then it like flashed a picture of him at the beginning, and then it like faded away to let you know this is like an Eric Bischoff production. I was like, oh God, damn it!
It's just so bad.
But we'll get to that in a little bit later. But anyway.
and Eric's not the only fraud merchant who is putting out very easy to see through tweets. I have another one for you later that I know you're not probably even aware of yet.
I don't think I know where you're going here, but I'm excited.
No, you don't. It's when we get to a different topic later in the show. Can I give you who the tweeter was and have you not look it up until we get to the top? You want to do it that way, or do you want me to completely surprise you?
Completely surprise me. I'd love to be completely surprised. Yeah, we'll let me and the listeners along on this ride and be completely surprised about this take.
Completely see-through tweet, which is so you can see what the person's doing, and it's like it's so obvious, and it's just it's pretty awful. But we got a lot to talk about. We got no more on the Starks NXT debut, right?
No. We'll do the rest of the releases later. We'll do that later. Yeah. Do the rundown. Do the rundown as you were going to do before I rudely interrupted you with the take.
Well, here's what you need to do. Don't start giving takes on things because we want to get to Goto. We got to get to Goto. And what's going to happen is people are going to think we're doing a bit where we keep doing everything else first, and we're going to do Goto at the back end of the third hour.
No.
Like it's some hokey Yamato title defense in Dragon Gate or something. No, we got to talk about.
Like it's Gate of Destiny, some random. All right, Joe.
Right.
We got
Rainbow Gate 2025 or something.
We got 7 minutes. Yamato versus Benkei. Did you watch it? No. All right, I'll tell you, it was pretty good. All right, so we got to go. That's the end. All right,
Rich, you liked it? I got to tell you, this isn't my Big Brother's Dragon Gate, Rich.
The same segment every time.
Yeah, which is why I don't want to do it because I don't have anything new to add with these dopey Dragon Gate matches. Which, by the way.
Oh no!
I know. I'm
Stop.
Doing it. Very good. But Case Lowe, the birthday boy, by the way. Case Lowe, happy
23rd. Had big 20, the big 2-3, big 2-3.
Happy 23rd birthday to Case Shorty got low. He is now 23 years old. I'm a big fan of the boots with the fur and the Reeboks with the straps and Case Lowe, but he did not send me his list of latest Dragon Gate Rex that he said he was sending me weeks ago. I think he is either given up, right? He's like, this guy's not going to watch this shit, or he was forgetful. So when he hears this, maybe that will remind him. Gentle nudge. All right, so let's go through the topics here. Of course, New Beginning. Which let me tell you something. This is the Goto show, but that was a hell of a show, period.
That might be my favorite show of the year by far. I love that show.
Yeah. So, Rich, So a little preview there, a little taste of the takes. New Japan released the New Japan Cup brackets. And I know you're excited about Bullet Club Rogue Army member Bad Luck Fale coming up from New Zealand to participate in that one.
Rogue Army.
I know you're all fired up about that. We have the lineup for the New Japan 53rd anniversary show. That's set in stone. The releases, as we discussed, got Ricky Starks out of the way, but there's many other releases and contract season stuff. It's not contract season. It's February. We can't say that anymore, right? It runs from December to January. So strike that from the record. It's not contract season stuff, but lots of contracts are up. And we even have some international signings to discuss as well. Grand Slam Australia preview. So that's all set in stone. We joked about them doing ROH matches on Grand Slam, and now they really are doing ROH matches in Grand Slam. So I did talk about a little bit about that in the Thursday Dynamite review earlier today on the $5 tier. But we will go over the Grand Slam lineup. MLW SuperFight. Rich pushed it to Flagship Plus last time and made me do it by myself, but I forced Rich. But I threatened to quit, and split up the team if he didn't do MLW SuperFight 6 on the Flagship proper where it belongs.
Which you knew so much about, you kept calling it MLW Fightland, so much so that I promoted it today as us talking about MLW Fightland, and then I discovered, in fact, the show is called MLW SuperFight 6. So
small details.
Fightland, SuperFight, it's all the same. Whatever.
All the same. Pro Wrestling Noah had a show, and from another sold-out Cork and Hall, we will review that show, plus a big signing. That's called a radio tease. I'm not going to say who it is. Big signing in Pro Wrestling.
You won't believe who it is.
You will not believe it. Right after the break, and then we won't do it for 3 hours. All Japan announced the Carnival lineup, which, by the way, I didn't see that, and I'm looking at it for the first time, so you're going to get some fresh takes.
There it is.
So before we get to Goto, Rich Creech, and I swear we're not pushing Goto to the Dragon Gate hour.
Do not do this to Hirooki Goto.
We're not doing it. We got a big announcement, Rich Creech. We're going to do it at the top of the show because that's good business. So I mentioned that we're going to preview the Grand Slam Australia show, but not only that, on Saturday night, sometime in the wee hours, that's right, Instant Reaction Live, Grand Slam Australia, whenever the show concludes, probably about 2 a.m., Rich Creech will be dragging ass through that one, but Instant Reaction Live, Grand Slam Australia, this Saturday, what time, nobody knows, but Instant Reaction Live returns. That's $10 tier. It'll be the only time we will review the show. There will be no Flagship Plus. We won't talk about it next week on the Flagship. So if you want to hear our review to Grand Slam Australia, you will have to hear that on Instant Reaction Live. You can listen to it live or on demand on the $10 tier.
There it is, Instant Reaction Live. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see what time that ends up actually happening, because, of course, it happens after the Slam Dunk contest, so we'll see how long that goes. Obviously, Mac McClung will, in very short order, wrap up his three-peat of the dunk contest, and then, yeah.
I disagree.
You got Andre Jackson or whoever. You got
No.
Bucelis. Who are you thinking?
Kenny Skywalker.
Kenny. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Kenny Skywalker. Always
Kenny
good.
Skywalker's going to take it. I was going to do this joke with Aaron Gordon, but I discovered he's still in the league, so that wouldn't fit my gimmick.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You should have went with Terrence Stansberry or Kenny Skywalker are your two go-tos.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Kenny Skywalker. Love the Kenny Skywalker. Do you know I think you're an NBA historian.
Yeah. What do you got?
Isn't he the reason the NBA went to tenths of a second on the shot clock? Because didn't he make a controversial shot in MSG in a Knick game or something? And then they decide, we got to go to tenths of a second.
I don't think that was him. Maybe
was it the Knicks though? I think
it was the Knicks. It was the Knicks. I forget who it was that
was it Gerald Wilkins?
I don't think it was Gerald Wilkins, but it's somewhere of that ilk. You're getting warm. You're getting warm with.
I'm on the right team and I'm in the right era. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, who the hell was that? I forget who it was, but I don't think it was Kenny Skywalker. It might be. Maybe it was. I thought it was somebody else.
I'm picturing a really awful fadeaway jumper.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. With no time remaining, 0.1 seconds on the clock or whatever, and it counted, and then they were like, "Wait a second."
Yeah, like 0-0 on the clock, but then they were like, yeah, and then I think that was
Trent Tucker, the Trent Tucker rule.
There you go, Trent Tucker. That's right.
You were in the ballpark, but yes, the Trent Tucker rule is that no shot is allowed to be taken with under 0.3 seconds left in the game or shot clock.
You would figure Kenny Skywalker, Gerald Wilkins, Trent Tucker was coming soon. If you let me cook.
Were you going to get to Trent? Were you going to get to Trent Tucker? I don't think you were.
I think so. That's my era. Come on. Don't make me run off the colleges of all these men, too, because we got to get to Goto. But I would have got to Trent Tucker, I think. These are like all his doppelgangers to begin with.
Yeah.
Right?
91 Knicks. So, all your 91 Knicks. Yeah.
All the 91. Absolutely. So, yeah, that's my pick for the dunk contest. Kenny Skywalker.
Yeah, he was always really good. Yeah, the problem with a lot of those guys, like I go back and I watch a lot of the old dunk contests before, and I've actually written about them too on fansided.com, by the way, if you want to go find those out. But, like Skywalker is great. Like Kenny Walker is great. And Terrence Stansberry is great, but like nobody wanted to vote for those guys because there was actual superstars in the dunk contest. So it's like Terrence Stansberry blew, like he was so much better than Dominique, but they gave it to Dominique because they're like, it's fucking Dominique. Like we're not going to give it to Terrence Stansberry of the Indiana Pacers. Like forget it. Like no, we're going to give it to. But now it's like Terrence Stansberry would win like 7 straight of those because it's all geeks. You know, it's all just fucking geeks.
It's all geeks.
Yeah, guys that are barely in the league. Mac McClung's just hanging onto the league. But in those days it was like, well, we got to give it to like Michael Jordan, right? Like instead of Kenny Walker, and they gave it to Neek and Spud Webb and Michael Jordan and those guys, and then eventually once you got into the 90s and it was the geeks, then okay, D Brown and Harold Miner and those guys Brent Barry and all those guys can start winning the dunk contest. But in the 80s it was tough sledding, unfortunately.
Yeah, now we got guys out here who are going to be 3-peat winners who are G Leaguers.
Right. They literally don't play in the NBA.
No. This man, if he wins this year, it'll be his 3rd straight, right?
Correct.
He played 2 games. The first year he won the dunk contest, he played 2 total. He played 41 total minutes, which is more than I would have guessed, by the way, in 22-23. He did not play at all in the NBA last year. Not a single. He didn't step on an NBA floor, yet he won the dunk contest. This year, Rich Craich, do you want to take a stab at how many minutes he's played in the NBA this year?
How many minutes for the Orlando Magic Mac McClung has played? I would say like 11.
5.
Oh, wow.
1 game, 5 minutes for Texas Tech / Georgetown alum Mac McClung. So, when you say, it's just, a bunch of bums in this thing. I mean, you can't get bummier than that. This man, if he wins the dunk contest, okay, he will have just as many dunk contest titles as games played in the NBA the last 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. That's what this has become. But for the first time in a long time, I will be tuned in to the dunk contest because, I'll be waiting for Grand Slam Australia and getting all pumped up for Instant Reaction Live. So I'll watch the last few minutes of this hokey dunk contest. I haven't watched forever. Is it still gimmicky where they're like jumping over mascots and shit? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to enjoy myself is what you're saying.
No,
I'm going to be annoyed.
So. Yeah,
I'm going to be annoyed by it. And I see that they're not having Steph Curry do the 3-point contest against the girl. They're not doing that
again. Right? No. They pitched. Yeah, they did it last year. They also pitched Caitlin Clark on doing it. She did not want to do it, and so Steph didn't do it.
Yeah, she's very smart. See, she doesn't.
I'm not going to go out there and lose to Steph Curry in a 3-point contest. Good.
I like every decision she makes. She either has the best head on her shoulders of all time, or had the best advisors of all time, because she never makes a misstep, and she could easily make some missteps. She's never gotten to, and she could easily be gotten to. She makes every correct decision. She comes across very smart, that Caitlin Clark. I will say that. Yeah. What is she? Why would she do that against that? Why would she? No. And if she does do it, they better come with a check with a lot of fucking
big
zeros.
A lot of zeros. Yeah, a lot of zeros.
A lot of fucking zeros. And maybe that's why. Maybe I'm giving her. Well, that's not giving her too much credit. That even makes her smarter. If she's like, well, you got to fucking, pony up. I'm talking 8-figure check here. You want me to come do this dopey contest with Curry? Anyway, Instant Reaction Live after Grand Slam Australia. And now I think it's safe. By the way, Patreon, a lot of content back there. You did a Flagship Plus the other day. The true intent of Flagship Plus, topics that would never make a flagship.
Yep, Deadlock Pro, we're not going to talk about this week on the flagship. Nailed it. AEW Chi-Town Rumble was not going to be on the flagship at any point. Talked about it there. And Stardom, Supreme Fight in Korakuen Hall. Talked about that a little bit. Was not going to be on the flagship. So, perfect for Flagship Plus. Yeah, that is up there this week. And also a dedicated column to Hirooki Goto, which we're going to get to in just a second. I promise.
You got some heat for that.
I did. Whatever. It's fine.
You got some heat. There's a lot of heat on you for that. You got some heat.
You also said today that you were gonna end the Patreon and end the flagship because of that too. So you've done a lot of threatening this week. You've done a lot of threatening this week. You got me on edge.
Wait, what threatening did I do?
You're like Joe. You were like, Rich, I can't take the heat anymore. You know what I mean? Like you spoiled everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's upset. I just can't. It's one thing after another with you, Rich, and I'm done. And I can't keep going on like this.
Yeah. Rich just brings too much heat to me. And
you're always cleaning up messes, and you're just sick of it.
I'm constantly cleaning up messes. It was crazy. The other day, it's like my phone is blowing up, wakes me up at like the crack of dawn, 10:30 or something, and my phone is just buzzing. It's people complaining about Rich spoiling them on that Goto result, and it's just like I just said to myself, I had enough of this guy. He can't.
That's where the MLW. You said, look, I'll stick with it if and only if you review MLW Fightland / SuperFight 6. So I said, fine, I will watch it.
I think the bottom line is you're just way too controversial for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just open your mouth. It runs faster than your brain, and it's a lot. It's just a lot, Rich. You know, it's a lot, and sometimes I just can't. I can't deal. But so a new Flagship plus a spoiler-filled column on Hirooki Goto, the Thursday Dynamite review, and all the other accoutrements that you will find on the Flagship Patreon, the highly successful and award-winning Flagship Patreon, which everybody should be subscribed to on the $10 tier to get that instant reaction live for Grand Slam Australia and everything else we do. Now, we can get to New Beginning Osaka, right?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
New Beginning Osaka, we're there?
That's it.
All right. So, 5,502 fans packed the old body maker in Osaka. We talked about this last week where, the Korakuens hadn't done well. If you take away the second Dome show, the 1-5 show, New Japan coming into this New Beginning was way behind year over year in attendance. The New Beginning tour, not just the Korakuens, but the tour itself and, the Dome and everything. And they're behind year over year in attendance. Of course, the second Dome show artificially puts them ahead of last year, right? If you want to look at it from that standpoint, because they only held one Dome show the year before. But this show did a Super No Vacancy Full House, a true Super No Vacancy Full House, 5,502 for this. And last week we had noted that we both agreed that it was the depth of the card more so than Zack Sabre Jr., who is the champion during this period where they aren't drawing particularly well, right? I don't know where you stand. I have to change my mind on that take. I think I was wrong. Based on the reactions of the crowd for the main event, I think Hirooki Goto filled this building.
I do too.
I think that
people were there to see Goto.
Yeah, they were. They were there to see Goto. They were there to cheer him on in what they thought was his last crack at this thing. This Hirooki Goto story has connected with fans, not just in the West, but clearly in Japan and clearly in Osaka on
that building
night.
Too. That building has so much history with Goto and failure too, which is another important part I try to bring up in my piece, that he had lost in that building at New Beginning numerous times. So it's also a thing of like this crowd and a lot of those people in that crowd have seen this guy lose in big time spots over and over and over again. So there might be a thing to it of like, and also to add to the romanticism of it all, is this arena is getting like redone and going to be closed for a long time too. I think it's going to be closed for like a year or two. So they're rehabbing it. So it's like, this is our last chance to see that guy have his last chance to see, there was a lot there that it was like, we have to go to the show. Cause like we might never see Goto in a title match ever again. And we might not see it in this building ever again because who the hell knows, certain things about that just made it like, no, we have to get to this building. So I am ready to attribute that number very, very highly to Hirooki Goto because when he came out, he was a fucking megastar in that building.
I feel like this story in that match resonated with fans. We do have a run-in for the first time in a long time. I got the boy here now.
What's he think of Hirooki Goto?
What's this? You got it's 8:30, right? Mm-hmm. I see you sneaking into the pantry, and what are you coming out with here? You got some Cheez-Its? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Some Cheez-Its?
Yeah.
Does your mother know about this?
Yeah.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have to keep this quiet.
Does she? Hold on. Does she?
We're on the up and up.
Oh.
Should you be Cheez-Its at this
she doesn't
hour?
know shit. She doesn't know anything.
You don't sound, you got no heat from me, okay? Does she know? Let's be honest. She does. You asked her if you can come down and get these Cheez-Its?
Yeah.
And she's letting you get Cheez-Its at let's see, the new flavor, smoked cheddar Cheez-Its here. 8:30 at night when you belong in bed? You bringing these into your bedroom?
Yeah.
You're eating them in the bedroom.
No.
Where are you eating them?
In mom's room.
Oh, you're with her in her room. What are you guys doing?
Chilling.
Chilling? What, just hanging out in the room? What are you guys watching something? What are you watching?
The middle.
Okay, all right. Well, take your Cheez-Its and beat it then. I thought, I was going to do you a solid and not say anything, but apparently she knows about it. All right, off he goes. So,
what's the middle?
The middle. It's
the middle.
Sitcom.
Oh, the middle. I thought he said the middle. I was like, what the hell is okay, the middle.
Well, that's what that's where he's going to be working if he keeps failing math. We're going to get those math grades up. He's not doing
honestly,
so hot.
Honestly, Joe, he'll make more money at the mill. He should probably just go work at the mill.
Probably.
He should, as somebody who went through college and did all that sort of shit, just learn to be an electrician or a pipe fitter or a plumber or the mill or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, these math grades aren't so hot.
It's fine. Math is stupid. Math is dumb. You don't need math.
I know you agree. You had Britt had to have a little chat with the teacher on the phone over these math grades, and then sent home the extra work booklet for him to work on, which he's been doing, to be fair. And then he came home the other day and he was like, my math teacher, she gave me a special desk. I'm like, what? What does that mean? She's like, yeah, I got a desk right next to her desk. She says so I can concentrate better on the math.
Boy,
and I was like, oh, man, this is this is not going well.
I've been there. It's like looking into a mirror. That's a lot. All this happened to me, too.
You hate the math.
Particularly with math. It was like I couldn't get it. I just never got it. It just never clicked with me, ever.
Yeah, I don't know. He's, maybe you can give him some advice.
No, my advice would be just don't go to school and work in the mill.
Your advice is get the calculator out. This is bullshit.
Yeah, my advice is you're not going to need any of this shit. Just learn how to use Excel, learn how to program or something. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about the math. The math that they're teaching you is all shit. It's all dumb, and you're not going to need any of it. Don't worry about any of it, and learn how to become a pipe fitter. Really, get in that pipe fitters union as quick as you can.
The teacher said also she didn't want to make a big deal of it, but he called her brah one time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Brah. Yeah. Which is I'm chilling, brah. This kid, I'm telling you, man. I don't know. Is this the kids talk like these days? I don't like it.
That's how he talks. I guess he called his teacher brah, and then it beats what he did in kindergarten. When the teacher said he was doing gang signs. We still don't know what that means. So apparently he was throwing gang signs. And then he also
up in the West Coast. Was he a West Coast guy? Was he Crip? What was he?
I don't know. We keep asking him and he doesn't recall or understand why she said that. And then in first grade, he got frustrated at something and he went, oof, maron. I wonder where he got that one from.
Oh, God only knows. So, must have been TV. Must have been the middle. Probably on the middle, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure those people from
Modern
Indiana
Family
on the middle.
Modern Family or the middle probably did that, yeah.
So he dropped a oof maron in first grade with the hand gesture and everything, like he's Paulie Walnuts. But again, I have no idea where he'd learned that kind of language. But Hirooki Goto, I think he just, I think it resonated with people. It was very clear immediately once the match started that he drew the house. And I don't think a lot of the people there bought that he was going to win. I think that they were like us and like a lot of our listeners in that we're all rooting for him. We want him to win. It's going to be great if he does, but come on, let's face it. He's not going to win. Right. And then I think when Zack Sabre Jr. took so much of the match, I was like, wow, they're going to do it because he really dominated the match. And, that one submission spot where Red Shoes he does it in like every match he refs, but where he did the I'm going to ring the bell fake out. For the first time ever, I bought it. I bought the Red Shoes Uno I'm going to ring the bell fake out. I bought it. I've never bought it before. That was such a great spot where Sabre had him in that wacky submission. That's probably the name of some punk record from 1983 or something.
Right.
And some Sex Pistols B-side or something that aimed at. But I bought that spot. And then, he made the comeback and the crowd was just so great for this. And then he hit two of those, reverse Ushigoroshis or whatever. Well, first he hit the Shoutin' Kai, which popped me off the couch.
Yeah,
he doesn't know he used that. And then the 2 reverse Ushigoroshis or whatever, where he hit the back of Zach's head into his knee. And then he did it the second time, and I was like, holy shit, this is real. Because Zach's not kicking out of this after he gave him 2 of them. And then he got the pin, and, you know, it was 4:00 in the morning, and I woke up my kids. I just made this guttural, like, sound, and, you know, I woke everybody up, but I couldn't believe it, you know, and it's just such a great moment. And he brings his cute kids into the ring, those kids that we saw at the G1. That little girl is adorable. He just has such an adorable daughter. And, you know, his son, and they're so respectful. They take their shoes off before they get in the ring.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome.
You know, and you know, now the boy's a little older, and he kind of had that Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, it was kind of like, all right, Dad. You know what I mean? Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. But the daughter's so adorable, you know, and she is every time. And yeah, it's come full circle. And the other thing I was thinking, as I'm watching him win this title is, man, you know, we've talked about it so many times over the years. And this is just another example of Gato's light bulb booking where, yeah, the G1 was the build to this, and it was happening right under our noses.
Right.
And we kind of sniffed it out.
You talked about it a lot. You said that there is a path that Goto winning the G1 is the right path moving forward. We clipped it up on YouTube. You can go find it if you want from this summer of you saying, look, I think that you could have Goto win this G1 and it would all make all the sense in the world. And you can have him win this title or go for the title or whatever, and it would all make sense. And you were just a little ahead of the game. But yes, the building blocks were being put there in the G1, and then they were saw it through in the fall, and then, of course, starting in January with winning the Rambo.
Yeah, so we kind of sniffed it out, but then when he didn't win the G1, I think everyone kind of wrote it off as, they just told a little mini, they do it every year with somebody, you know, and this was just, Goto was the right guy to kind of, you know, stay in the mix towards the end. But it's Goto. They're never really going to put the title on him. And like you said, even when he won the Rambo, I think we were still like, they're never really going to put the title on him. But now looking back, I think this is another example of what we've seen over the years with Goto, where he starts laying the groundwork for and tells a story that you don't even know is being told. And then when the story is paid off, you go, this all makes sense. And you go back and you look at all of the groundwork that was laid for it, and it was very obvious that it was the plan. And this is another example of that. And I think when you consider that and the fact that as we review the rest of this show, I know you already said you thought it was a great show, but what I'm curious of your thoughts are as we go through it is you've been someone who's been you've totally run out of patience with kind of moving these younger guys up. And I thought this was a show where New Japan did a great job pretty much with every single one of those young guys that we've been talking about in establishing and setting them up for really moving up now. And from that standpoint, when you combine this Goto win and the obvious groundwork for it that was laid last year and a lot of the angles we saw with some of the younger guys, man, I don't know, man. I feel like Gato's back, Rich Craich.
I do.
I feel like Gato's back.
No, he's back. Yeah, and New Japan's back too, man. This felt like a show from a different era of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And maybe it's a new era of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that's fine with me if this is the new era of New Japan Pro Wrestling. But this felt like a show from 10 years ago. This felt like a show from 12 years ago. That era of New Japan Pro Wrestling, a hot Osaka crowd, a lot of really short matches, which I thought really helped enhance a lot of these matches. Like even this Goto match. You know, in another era, a couple years ago, this match would have been 41 minutes, 35 minutes, or whatever. No, they got in and out of there in 20 minutes with no wasted movement. And that's the thing I liked about this match the most is that, and Zach has been great about that in almost all of his matches that he's had with this world title and a lot of his New Japan World matches as well. And the New Japan World matches had to sort of be that because of the time limit restrictions. You kind of have to have that match where it's like, all right, bell rings, we got to go and we got to start getting into action right away. But I think he's kind of adopted that style, and I think it's good. And I think it's a healthy thing for New Japan Pro Wrestling to move away from the Tanahashi and Okada and Naito for kind of epic long matches where there's a time and a place for those sort of matches. You know what I mean? There's a time and a place for a big time IWGP World Title match main event to have this big long 35-40 minute match thing or whatever. But not every time. And they kind of fell into that trap that everybody then had to do that. We saw Sonata struggle to have to do that. Okay, now I'm the world champion, so now my matches all have to be these very, very long, very boring, matches, because he doesn't have the sort of oomph that an Okada or a Naito or a Kenny Omega or a Tanahashi had or whatever. But those guys were able to do that sort of style of match. A lot of other guys can't. And I thought Zack Sabre Jr. in his title reign did a great job of sort of bringing that back a little bit and saying, no, you know what? Let's have matches that are just 20 minutes. Let's have matches that can end at a moment's notice. Let's have matches that can just end for one move or another. And yeah, it can be done in 20 minutes. We can tell this exact same story that we were going to tell here, and it did not need 5 extra minutes of fluff. It did not need 10 extra minutes of bullshit and drama and all. No, all the drama was in that. All the drama was the bell rang and these guys went at it right away. And like you said, Zack Sabre Jr. is controlling the match. And he's an artist. He knows what he's doing. And he's got the crowd getting hotter and hotter, saying, no, we have to rally Goto. He can't go out this way. This can't be how it is. And you can feel, and they structured this match perfectly, where you could feel that crowd as it's going on, getting more and more into it, and saying, he's going to do it. Come on, Goto. We need you to, come on, Goto, get back. And then once Goto started getting on offense, once he finally started to kind of, match Zack Sabre Jr.'s, beating his ass and doing all this sort of thing, and Goto starting to match him, and Goto starting to not be, as deflated or whatever by Zach's offense, then the crowds, and now they realize, oh, okay, here we go. Maybe this is going to be it. And then, the last 5 or 6 minutes of this match are just fucking phenomenal, with this crowd losing their goddamn mind at everything that's happening here. And like you said, Goto hits those moves, those 3 moves in pretty rapid succession. The second one hits, and this crowd, there was that weird tension. It got silent for a second, because the crowd's like, we think this is it, but is it really it? And then that 3 hit, and my God, this building went absolutely nuts. Someone in our Discord likened it to Ron Simmons' title win in WCW. And I think that's a really good comp, where people are leaping up and down and rushing to the guardrails, because they want to be close to this moment. Maybe this man who just won the title will touch us, or he'll walk by us or whatever, but we need to be close. I can't be 10 rows away. I have to be as close as I possibly can, because he wins and people are they're throwing babies in the air and jumping up and down and rushing. They're just rushing to the ring to just try to be a part of this moment and part of this just glee that's happening when Goto finally wins this title. But no, I think up and down the show, bookended by this match, I thought this was one of the best New Japan shows I've seen in a very long time. It might be, it's years. I'll tell you that. It's definitely years. I mean, that you talk about restoring feeling in AEW all the time. This was a show that restored a lot of feeling for me in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And you know me, I've been very critical of New Japan over the last couple of years, because I just think it's been bad. And, a lot of people kind of pretended these shows were good because they felt that they had to do that. And it's like, no, hold on. When they're good, you can tell them, you can call them they're fucking good again. This was a good ass show. This one, no one's going to tell you that you have to. No, this was it. This is what the essence of it could be. And this is what this company could have been and should have been for a long time. And I'm really glad that something like this happened. And I'm really glad that the structure of the show, and like you said, I'm really glad that so many of the young guys on the show, yes, Hirooki Goto won the world title in the main event, but that aside, every other match on the show was about establishing younger wrestlers, for the most part. The tag title match, not really with Hiromu and Naito, but pretty much everything else on the show was establishing young guys and young guys moving up the ladder and young guys finally getting the spots. And I just thought, it was a loaded show, 10 matches, shorter matches, a lot of singles matches. This is, you can't come out here and do a show like this all the time, but this can be the new norm, and it should be the new norm in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I hope it is, because this was a great show, top to bottom, a fucking phenomenal show.
Yeah, I think, look, Gato takes his time. And it's always been that way. It's always slow, and maybe this was way too slow with some of these guys. And to be fair, we should wait and see the follow up on some of these angles and some of these moves. But it really does feel like they're finally putting the foot on the pedal with a lot of these dudes now. It feels that way now. I'd be very shocked if we're still moving in slow motion or moving backwards. And I apologize again to everybody, but run-in number 2, he's very excited. He appears, okay, so I know you couldn't wait for this, right? He's wearing his Valentine's Day gift from his mother.
Oh, okay.
I had nothing to do with this. I really had nothing to do with it. This was all your mom. Okay. He has this big smile on his face as he's coming down the stairs. What are you wearing? Tell everybody what you're wearing.
My red Ella De La Cruz shirt.
He's got himself a Ellie De La Cruz shirt.
Interesting.
That his mother got him. And he's got this shit-eating grin on his face as he's coming. Don't say that's a bad word. You don't say that word. He's got, this duty-eating grin on his face as he comes down the stairs sporting his Cincinnati Reds. And then he turns around and shows me the 44 on the back, Ellie De La Cruz.
So it's like a Scherzi, little Scherzi action here?
It's like the shirtsy gimmick. The shirtsy gimmick.
Yeah.
There's half jersey, half shirt. So I'm going to keep you home from school opening day, right? We already agreed to that. Right? We're going to get some food. You're going to, no school that day. Forget the math. Don't worry about the math. We're going to watch the Reds opening day.
Eat some wings.
Against the Giants, right? Hunter Green, yeah, absolutely. So tremendous job. Love the shirt. Your mother did a nice job. It's actually officially licensed. She usually screws that up and gets like the,
the weird Chinese
like the off-brand stuff.
Yeah.
She usually gets the off-brand stuff. Or, he's an Arizona Cardinals fan, and she got him Louisville Cardinal gear for Christmas. Just typical mom moves, typical mom moves. She's got no idea what she's doing. You like it, though? You're happy?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. You're all sleeping it. You're so happy. You going to wear it to school tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. All right, buddy. You can beat it now. I'm trying to do a show here. Hit the bricks. All right, so up the stairs he goes. All right, so that's
he's gonna be tormented. He's gonna be like me and tormented when he leaves the team for sure. Like I used to buy jerseys when I was a kid, and I just stopped because they would all get traded or hurt or bad, and I was just like, I don't like anybody anymore. I just like teams. I
should really sit both of them down because the girls into it too. I should really sit both of them down, and explain to them the economics of baseball
right.
and the perils of being a Cincinnati Reds fan, right. And tell them that they've got about 4 more years to enjoy this guy before they inevitably are forced to trade him away. Because if Alex Bregman's getting $40 million AAV, what do you think?
He's going to do pretty good. I think he's going to do all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was Goto. I mean, the Ron Simmons comparisons, I like that because you did have the fans running up the rail and everything. But yeah, it really feels like this is the time for a lot of these guys, and that's the sense I got as the show was happening. Do you want to start at the top then? Let's circle and start.
Let's do the top. Well, I mean, I guess a little bit more on Goto. I guess we've obviously followed his journey, I think, the whole way through in this podcast. Like everybody that's listened to this podcast has followed the Hirooki Goto journey. I wrote a lot about it behind the paywall, just a little bit of that experience of being, because we're big time Goto fans. We've been big time Goto fans forever. We always liked his work. We always thought he was great. And one of the things with Goto is as kind of a tragic figure in New Japan Pro Wrestling, because we always talk about him as one of the guys that they thought they were going to build around, and that was going to be one of the top stars in this company, and he was going to be, lead them through a new generation or whatever. And it never quite clicked, and it never quite clicked, and it never quite clicked. And then he kind of looked around one day, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck, I'm way further down the ladder than I was. Okada comes in and immediately jumps up and leaps over him and literally beats him multiple times. And we laughed about it at the time when Goto just kept getting beaten by Okada, and then Okada's like, hey, do you want to join my unit? And Goto's like, yeah, sure, why not? Can't beat him, join him. And we were like, oh my god, dude, what are you doing? You can't do that. What a fucking geek. But that's kind of where Goto got to at a point, which made it seemed like a real tragedy that it's like, man, here was a guy that they clearly at one point thought was going to be one of their next big stars, and he never stopped delivering in the ring. They just never believed in him enough to have him really win that title, really believed in him enough as like a tippy top star or a draw or whatever. And as they waited, all of a sudden all those other guys, kind of Shinsuke Nakamura, rediscovered his stardom and really rediscovered and got a whole new gimmick and all that sort of stuff. And then he leaped over Goto and passed him up. And then Tetsuya Naito obviously comes back from Mexico with the LIJ thing and passes him up, but really was probably bound to pass him up no matter what, even before that. And Okada, obviously, coming out of nowhere and getting the push right away and passing him up. And it's like, he looked around, and then add in the Gaijins, add in Kenny Omega, add in all these other guys. And it's like real quickly, Goto, who felt like the heir apparent to Tanahashi in a lot of ways, or maybe kind of a peer to Tanahashi, was on the outside looking in. And he was just kind of this dude that would always be good, but not good enough. He'd win New Japan Cups, he'd win World Tag Leagues, he'd do well in G1s, he'd do well in these little tournaments here and there. He'd always right on the cusp. But then, when the big moment came, he'd have his little title match, he'd have a great match. We'd love it. We'd come on here and talk about it, but we'd say, yeah, no, ultimately he lost, and he's not good enough to be the champion right now. And it took 9 tries for him to get there, and he finally got it. And it was definitely a cathartic moment, watching as a Goto fan to finally see him do it and finally see him win it. And this isn't this man's not like, he's still fucking great too. So it's not because the term gold watch, I think people like to use that term a lot, but this is not it. Yeah, that's not what this is. Look, yeah, this man is he at the top of his game? I don't know if he's at the top of his game, but this is not the Manabu Nakanishi gold watch title reign. This is not one of those. This is a guy who could still wrestle with the best of them in the company, them finally deciding this is the time to try it out.
I think they got some juice with this too, because he's going to face Tanahashi at the anniversary show. Yuji Nagata came out and was like, "Hey, I want to crack at that."
You had to hose me down when I saw Yuji Nagata. Be like, "Hey, man, hold on a minute, let me get that." I was like, Nagata and Goto, let's go.
Yeah, so he's beating those guys. So this is not gonna be like a transition very quickly to either back to Zach or to somebody else here. And like we've been saying, and we said even in the lead up to this, he's still an excellent pro wrestler. It's just a really feel good moment. It reminds you why you love pro wrestling, watching a match like that and a result like that. And everything landed. I had to wave the boy off. Now he's addicted to the mic. I had to wave him off. He gets on the mic for 2 seconds. Now he thinks he's Wolfman Jack. Now he wants to come over here and just like hit the bricks. Let the professionals do their job. He thinks he's Rick Dees all of a sudden.
Casey Kasem out there. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Get to bed. It's 9:00. Get out of here. All right. So let's circle to the top here. We got Tanahashi versus Togi Makabe opening things up. Now, look, okay, I hear you groaning, Rich Grage. I thought this was perfectly fine for what it was supposed to be until they completely botched the finish. And then Tanahashi's like, well, I don't know what to do. Let's just do the same finish again.
I got it. Togi, let me do it one more time. I promise I got it this time.
This time we'll nail it.
Right? And he didn't nail it. He got it. I don't know if he nailed it. He
didn't nail it. There. Yeah, strong term. Right. Yeah. No hammers were out. This didn't get nailed, but they completed the pinfall the second time around. So, what are you going to do?
I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's about vibes or whatever. Oh, it's vibes. Oh, but it's like, I don't want to watch a guy that used to be fucking great and used to be the best wrestler in the world, like, not be able to do a victory roll and then have to say, I kind of want to end the match with the victory roll. Let me try it again. Like, some people like that stuff because of vibes and all that. I don't want to watch a guy that once was great be bad. I don't want to watch Willie Mays fall over himself in center field. I don't want to watch Patrick Ewing with the Seattle Supersonics. Like, I don't really, it doesn't do much for me. I'd rather just remember the good times. So I don't know. It's going to be a long year. I think it's going to be a very long year for these Tanahashi matches.
Remember when Ken Griffey fell asleep in the Mariner dugout?
Remember when Ken Griffey played for the Chicago White Sox for an entire year?
I know.
And Kenny Williams, who was the White Sox general manager, loved Ken Griffey Jr., so he was like, well, Ken Griffey Jr. is our center fielder. And everyone's like, he hasn't played center field in a while. And he's like, well, no, he's one of the best center fielders of all time. And they're like, wait, he was, but he's not anymore.
15 years ago,
and they played him at center field all the time, and he wasn't good. It's like, don't play him at center field.
It's like, he's a bad right fielder for the Reds. What are we doing?
You're in the AL. You have a DH spot. Use him there if you must. But
we traded you guys. We traded you guys Griffey for Nick Massett.
Yeah.
And we won the trade. What does that tell you?
Exactly. Right.
Like that tells you all you need to know about Griffey at that point.
But there was so much Griffey in center field, and then if you looked at it, he hadn't played center field in a decade. Like the Reds stopped playing at center field like a decade prior. It was,
and that they had to pull. And believe me, it wasn't easy to get him out of there either, because these guys, they don't want to accept it. So it was tough to get him to finally move to right field. You can only watch a guy chase so many balls to the wall while holding his hamstring before you can convince him to move to right field. It's not. Look, the end of the match fell apart. I feel like he's gonna. I'm confident he's gonna hold it all together for the Goto match. I think they're gonna have a good match. I don't think they're gonna have a great match, but I think they're going to have a good match. I think he knows it's his final IWGP title match, and I think that's going to be meaningful to him, and I think he's going to do shit that he's going to make sure he does shit he can handle. And I think with the exception of whatever his final match is going to be, and hopefully it's Okada, He knows that this is probably the one he's going to have to work the hardest in. I think he recognizes that. And I think he'll have a good match with Goto. We'll see. But next up was Drilla Maloney moving up to heavyweight against Shingo Takagi. And I will be brief.
I would say this man has moved up to heavyweight. My fucking God, this man is so large.
Yeah, listen, he's
those traps.
That's all.
He is doing well. He is eating a lot of steak and
nutrition and working out in the gym
milk,
is what it is.
Milk and shoulder shrugs for sure.
That's all. You get the medicine balls out. You get the
some dumbbells, do some curls,
some
shrugs.
It's pumping iron. He's clanging and banging, and he's watching what he eats, and the results are obvious. Now, as far as this match, I fucking love this.
Oh, so good.
This is what I want in my pro wrestling. This is just, it's like
this is such a dumb jock show. This entire show was so fucking dumb jock,
and especially this match. There's not many left, but we had two of the best dumb jock wrestlers in there. And was this the smoothest and cleanest match of all time? No,
who cares?
Good. It's actually made it better. This is two dumb jocks doing dumb jock shit. And it was such a departure, and so because you just don't get this anymore. I fucking loved this, and I will say, can I take my victory lap on Maloney? I was on the damn Maloney train years ago.
You were NXT UK Dan Maloney on the train
before he got to NXT. This guy. I just saw it, and I think. I think they see it now. He just beat Shingo Takagi, which, by the way, was absolutely the right finish.
Of course.
I will not even entertain an argument on that. You want to move this guy up, he's got to get big win. This is what I mean. It feels like the foot is on the pedal here. And that's going to be a theme of this review. But my God, this is the kind of wrestling I want and need. This is the kind of wrestling that I want and that I need and that injects life into me. It's 2:00 in the morning, and I'm typing in all caps in the Discord about how much I fucking love this match, dropping F-bombs. God, did I love this match.
Yeah, you got a big fucking, I was going to say roided up man, but as you pointed out, it was just shoulder shrugs, dumbbells, medicine balls, milk, a little bit more steak, a little more he upped the protein a little bit, I would say. He probably looked at his diet and said, I think I need more protein in my diet, and he added a couple different parts of his meals, maybe a shake, maybe even just a protein shake in the morning for this man. But he's
a lot of raw eggs.
A lot of raw eggs. I don't know. Yeah, well, I got maybe they're not as expensive in Japan, but so he's out there just clanging and banging like you said, hitting the gym. But yeah, he goes out there and he's just, and this is another example that I'm talking about on the show. 10 minutes. This match didn't need to be a minute longer. It didn't need to be 5 minutes longer. It's perfect. Bell rings and it's just like, all right, let's go. And they fucking attacked each other and they fought each other and they just did dumb jock shit for 10 minutes straight, dropped each other in their heads, screamed, snarled, spit, lariats and just muscles. And oh God, it's so great. When I was watching at this part of the show, I was like, oh, all right, hold on. This is getting pretty good. And little did I know we had many, many more matches of this ilk on this show, but this was phenomenal. I absolutely loved this match. This is probably this is my third favorite match on the show, just because the other two are going to be really, really great. We'll talk about them in a sec, but that's not putting down. This match was as good as those other two. I would put all three in a very, very high, very upper echelon for sure. I love this match.
I mean, this guy's beating Ishii in the New Japan Cup, and then I believe he faces TJP, who he's also beating. Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think what they're doing is setting up a quarterfinal with Shingo, and then Shingo gets the win back.
Probably.
That's where I think they're going.
Probably.
But Maloney beating Shingo in a focused singles match here, and then making a run in the New Japan Cup before giving that win back to Shingo. Because Shingo, I think, is a contender to win the New Japan Cup. I'm not trying to jump ahead, but he's certainly a contender to go deep. And I think that looking at the draw, I think that's where we're going with that. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. Next up on this show was the Great Okan defeating Shota Umino. All eyes on Umino. I thought Great Okan was so great in this match. I'm probably a bigger Okan fan than most people, but what I like about Okan, if people want to know what I like about the Great Okan, they need to just watch this match. He just wrestled this he's like a bear or something. He's like just this. He's like I said, he's got offense like a dump truck. Like everything he does looks like it hurts, which is another sort of trait in pro wrestling that isn't as common as it used to be. Okay, everything he does looks like it hurts. At one point, Aminu was selling on the mat, and Okan picks him up by the back of the head, and he doesn't perform a move. You know what he did to him? He just took him by the back of the head and smashed his face into the mat.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
He just smashed his fucking face into the mat. And I'm like, this is my guy. This guy is so much fun to watch when he's on and when he's wrestling like this. And he's had some G1 matches like this, and he usually gets off to really bad starts in the G1, and then people start skipping his matches because they don't think of him as a work rate guy. Plus, he's like 0-4 halfway through the tour. And it's like, but if you watch his G1s, he has a lot of G1 matches like this too, where he's just this, like, I don't know how to describe it, like a rhino or a dump truck or a gorilla, and he just
that's gorilla. Like I always think of him as a gorilla because he's just like he's just with his hands. He's just ripping your body apart with his hands.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's just
like a
eating
primate,
your face. He's just gonna eat your face. Yeah, he looks like he's gonna eat your face after a sec. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just looks like he's fucking you up, and then he hits the claw slam. And it's like
he has a move called a claw slam, for God's sakes. He's a fucking rhino.
He hits the fucking claw. It just picks you up by the face. He picks you up by the face.
Right.
I love this guy. Like I don't know.
So and he's just howling the entire time while he's doing this. You know what I mean? He's just making noise. He's just making guttural noises the entire time while he's doing it.
I want the puffy pants back. I like puffy pants Okan, but he wasn't puffy pants Okan here. But so he picks him up by the face and gives him the claw slam, and he just fucking beats him with his knee on his chest. And what I was thinking was, I know what's happening. I'm pointing to my temple, and I'm thinking, I know what's happening here. This is the classic guy wins on the undercard. You forget about him and don't think about it again, and he comes out as the challenger at the end of the night, right? That's what I'm thinking here. Didn't turn out that way. What it was instead was Shota Umino. They're not wasting any time with this. They are quickly backpedaling. They recognize the error of their ways. They see that this shit ain't working. Okan takes out the buzzers or the fucking shears, whatever you call them, and he's going to shave this fucker's head. This was not a hair versus hair match, by the way.
No.
He just decided,
it was not.
I'm going to shave this man's head. Umino stops him, takes the razor from him, and shaves his own head.
Yeah.
So we're either getting some kind of repackage. That's for certain. But what I think we might be getting is Umino and we haven't had one of these in a while. He might be doing the old, I'm going to start from the bottom.
Yeah, that's the thought I had, which I think that'd be great. That you rebuild him from ground zero. He literally goes back to, black tights and Boston Crabs in the openers, with the young Lions. Yeah.
He's in there, taking on fucking Katsuya Murashima and people like that and proving himself from the bottom. I don't know that that's what they're doing, but it's either that or some kind of repackage at minimum. And look, that's instead of being stubborn about things, you recognize it didn't work and they're changing gears. And you can't knock them for that. This was becoming untenable and it wasn't going anywhere. So they're switching direction.
I love it. Yeah. This is another example of why I'm very confident in New Japan right now. And very into it is recognizing that the Umino thing, this guy was just main eventing a Tokyo Dome a month ago. Yeah, I mean, it's February 13th. A month ago, this guy was main eventing your Tokyo Dome show, and now you're very clearly understanding this isn't working, this isn't going great. Let's try something different with him, and it's something stark. It's not just, he joins Bullet Club. You know what I mean? It's not, he just joins this. Because you could do that too. He turns heel and he joins Bullet Club or whatever. Okay. We've seen that 1,000 times. It's the shaving of the head is just like, okay, we haven't seen that in a very long time. And that's something of like, I've brought great shame to you and great shame to myself or whatever. I have to rebuild myself. And that's ballsy. That's a big time move and a big ballsy move. And I'm in for it. I like it. I hope that's the direction we're going. I really do. I hope I hope he's on the next show, or the next couple shows, he's, like you said, with the young Lions, with the black tights, doing the Boston Crabs, and that would really, 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 I'd be all in on that for sure. But yeah, it's bold. It's bold, and it's the exact type of bold move you need to make because this guy was going to flounder if you kept trying it and kept trying it. It was only going to get worse, and you're only going to stall his development. This is what you have to do to kind of reset that development.
Okan's such a badass in the ring, but then it's like he's a fuck pillow guy, and that doesn't add up. You know, like he's a fuck pillow. Like he has a what do you call when they want to fuck the cartoon character girls? He has a what do you call he has a what do you call those?
The fuck pillows or what?
No, he's a fuck pillow guy, but what's it called when you want to fuck one of the cartoon girls?
When you want to, I don't know what that. Yeah.
What do you call the girl? It's your the chat will definitely help us with this one.
The chat will know for sure. Yeah.
What do you call the girl? The girl when you want to fuck the anime girl? She's your what's that word I'm looking for? Shit. Let me see if I can.
Waifu.
Your waifu. Your waifu.
Yeah.
Right. He's a waifu guy. He's a waifu guy. He's a fuck pillow guy.
Waifu house. He's a waifu house.
He is. He really is. It's weird. He's probably home beating it to that arigato, not arigato, the ahigayo, where the girls, where they
cross eyes.
The Belle Delphine shit where they like cross their eyes and stick their tongue out. Like he's jerking it to that and the fucking tentacles and all that shit. Like it's so weird because he's like such a cool guy, like in the ring and a badass, and then he's got like a fuck pillow of his waifu at home, you know, which is like a weird dichotomy to have.
It's strange too because his online personality is a man who appears to enjoy the female companions a lot. If you ever see him on Instagram or whatever, he's always surrounded by some fine looking female companions.
Horny man.
Yeah, so we should probably just keep doing that. You know what I mean? Instead of
he's a really horny man. You remember that picture of him riding like the giant cock, the giant cock machine?
Yeah.
Like that's funny stuff. Like I would take a picture riding a giant cock machine. Like that's funny stuff. But like he's definitely one of those guys that's into like, you know, the tentacle porn and the ahagayos or whatever with the cross-eyed shit and the fucking pink hair and all that. And they did, you know, he's definitely into that. So yeah, he's buying the Belle Delphine fucking bathwater. Remember that? Like
yes.
She's farting.
I hate that I know exactly what you said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I hate
like
that I know that.
The fart air. You know, some of them sell the fart air. Right. Like they fart into a jar and they fart into a mason jar. Like they fart into those jars.
You think they actually fart into the jar? Do you think they at least do you think they upend that? Like, do they hold their own like end of that bargain? At least because like there's one that you could just simply send a mason jar and nobody would really care. But do you think that they're workers enough to at least do the deed?
I would hope that there's some honor in fart jars.
I would agree.
Actually farting
I would hope so too. Because if you can't believe in a fart jar, then what can you believe in? You know what I mean? That your $500 is not going for a legitimate fart in a jar.
Yeah, I think that it's like the mason jars I make my vinegar peppers in. Mm-hmm. I would think that when you get that in the mail and you pop that baby open and you stick your nose in there and take a big whiff, I expect to smell some fart if I'm buying a fart jar. Right? Like, shouldn't it? If you pop that open and it doesn't smell like anything,
I would hope there's honor. I would hope there's honor in that for sure.
Like, can they verify it? Like when you're grading a baseball card where it's like verifiable bathwater.
That's
like,
true. Send it to Beckett. Send it to Beckett.
Like a certificate of authenticity.
I would hope.
It's like,
I would hope. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for that bathwater.
It's actual bathwater and actual fart air in the mason jar, right? Now Okan would know. Like Okan's a guy. He absolutely would be privy to that because I know he's buying that shit. Sonata took on Taichi. I was not looking forward to this one, Rich Craig. With now, what the fuck was Sonata wearing?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
He's trying anything to
this was anything. This was indeed anything. Yeah, for people who did not see it, Sonata was wearing. I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it. It was it was a very, very small bottoms, very small bottoms, not a lot to the imagination. Then a leather jacket that had a bunch of like speakers coming out of it. I don't know what he was going for. Yeah, it was like the worst dancing bear video you've ever seen. You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? You know, just really weird, really weird male stripper energy out of Sonata.
Yeah, I don't know, but wasn't enough to make him interesting.
No, yeah, he's trying to be interesting, but once that bell's got to ring, That bell's got to ring.
No one cares about this match. What we want to talk about is Yuya Uemura coming back in the post-match schmaz there. And again, another example, you bring a guy back, he's been out injured. Sonata wins the match. Okay. So I think he punch him in the dick or something. I forget what the exact finish was.
Yeah, something like that.
Uemura comes out, and that's the big angle at the end, and he's getting his hands raised at the end with the just 3 guys or however many are left in that group now. And Uemura's back. So I think that's the big story here more so than the match. I think the match was just a setup to bring back Yuya Uemura.
Yeah, who came out to a big pop and stuff. So that was really cool. And yeah, he looks good. And he's back again. Another example of a young guy being vaulted right away into a big time spot there. So yeah, Sonata coming out and Yuya Uemura coming back and doing that. All right, then we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Title match. Ichiban Sweet Boys, your favorite team in the world, Joe Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles, defeating Roppongi Revice, Rocky Romero, and Yo.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get into it. The match was fine, but there's something about Yo that just puts me off.
He sucks.
I cannot stand Yo. He's one of my least favorite wrestlers in the world. He's just, I don't know what it is. Like I don't want to say he's a dork, but he's kind of a dork.
He's kind of a dork, yeah.
There's just something about him that's off-putting to me. Where I don't want to watch him wrestle, and we all know Rocky's never getting pushed in New Japan or anything, and we all knew what this is just going to be like a kind of a placeholder defense. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the match. I just had no interest in it. So I don't have any, and as a result, I don't have anything interesting to say, I guess is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, the one spot I would say is Robbie Eagles did that thing where he did like a tope over the top rope and then just fucking crashed and burned on the guardrails. And it sounded awful, and he grabbed his leg right away, and I'm like, oh my God, Jesus. I was listening to the English commentary too, and then Clark Connors on commentary, and he was like, Jesus goddamn Christ, what the fuck? He's just going nuts. And then he was just selling. He was fine. He jumped in the ring a couple minutes later and did a big spot. But that's about the only thing I really remember from this match. But yeah, pretty forgettable match, but gives us more time to talk about the next match, which I have a lot to say about.
Well, Taiji Ishimori came out, and it's going to be Taiji Ishimori and Robbie X, who were tag partners in the Junior Tag League or whatever. The problem is Taiji Ishimori is in the War Dogs now, and Robbie X is just like straight up Bullet Club guy, and the War Dogs aren't in Bullet Club anymore. So this is all very confusing. So I don't know if Robbie X is now... Okay, so the Bullet Club basically was just down to Chase Owens, Kenta, and Robbie X. Kenta has signed with Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah,
he's done.
He's done. It's over.
He finished up. So what you're left with is Chase Owens and Robbie X. But Robbie X is teaming with Taiji Ishimori, who's a War Dog now. So you would think that makes Robbie X a War Dog. You would think he's going to come out for this match or Taiji Ishimori is just going. I was going to say going rogue, but that would be confusing too.
With the Rogue Army,
the Bullet Club Rogue Army,
right.
Which is Fale and the fucking
I believe,
Oceana boys.
I think are unaffiliated right now with this current split, but I guess we'll find
out. The Rogue Army, the Bullet Club Rogue Army, which is basically Bullet Club Black and White, right? If you want to compare it to the old NWO. Where the Wolfpack was like the cool Bullet Club and the real Bullet Club, and the NWO Black and White was like, Brian Adams and Virgil and
Vincent. And Vincent.
Yeah. So that's like with the Rogue Army is like the Oceania guys. It's Fale and it's Jack Bonza and it's who else is in the Rogue Army? The tag team, the Phillips, the Natural Classics, right? Or Bullet Club Rogue Army. I think so. They're like their own thing. But Bullet Club proper, Kenta's gone. It looks like Robbie X is going to be joining War Dogs. That just leaves Chase Owens. And he's in New Japan. Right. Who, by the way,
will be in the cup.
In New Japan.
He's going to be in the cup, yeah.
So is he just is he going to be out there doing the 2-Suite all by himself? The last standing member of Bullet Club in this world is Chase Owens. That's how this ends.
That's how the Bullet Chase Club, one of the most iconic, stables in professional wrestling history ends with Chase Owens walking out.
And iconic stables.
Right.
Sold more T-shirts than fucking, and it all ends with one member, and that member is Chase Owens. Is that really? That's what we're doing. that it appears,
yeah.
you know, unless who's our boy, the Australian fucking TV announcer? He's Bullet Club too.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about
the hell's his name?
Doki Choki guy. What the fuck's his name? Gino Gambino. Gino Gambino.
We're down to just as we all predicted.
I don't think he's affiliated anymore. I forget what happened. But is he? I thought he wasn't anymore.
I didn't see an angle.
I don't think he is. I thought something happened where Gino Gambino was no longer. But maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, from Prince Devitt to AJ Styles to Jay White,
Kenny Omega,
all the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega,
Adam Hangman Page, Amber Gallows, or whatever. Right?
Jeff Jarrett, Scott D'Amore,
Cody Hall. Remember Cody Hall? Remember the Cody Hall?
Hall. Who could forget?
Cody Hall.
So through the whole lineage, we're down to
Jeff
Chase
Jarrett.
Owens.
You mentioned Jeff Jarrett and Scott D'Amore, right? Yeah, okay.
We're down to, listen, we can go to
Scott
La
Norton, right? that one
fucking
show. Scott Norton joined too, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he joined. I don't know if he officially joined, but I thought he did. He came out. It was like a New Japan and USA show, and they gave him a shirt. And he was like, "Oh yeah, whatever." Yeah, okay.
El Terrible, all of them.
Terrible.
So what we're down to here is Chase Owens and Gino Gambino. That's what the Bullet Club has been reduced to. That's it. Those are the only two members left, Rich Craig.
Bone Soldier. Yeah, eventually it's just going to have to end. You know what I mean? It will have to peter out at some point.
I disagree.
You think these guys should hang on to it as long as they can?
Sir, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but the Good Brothers have been released.
Oh, you're right. So they can get an infusion right now.
They're getting an infusion. I think the Bullet Club is going to be reinvigorated with a little Machine Gunka and Suntan Biker Man. That's what I think.
Not Amber O'Neal, though. Amber Gallows, I don't think
No.
She's not.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
whatever happened there.
Yeah,
that's
the bullet. She was the Bullet Babe,
ago.
right? She was the Bullet Babe. I don't think the Bullet Babe's coming back this time. So
I mean, he's already. He was dating Nia Jax. I don't know if that's still a thing, but she's history. But Rich, that's where I was going with this. I don't know.
Suntan Biker Man.
We're getting a little Machine Gunka and Suntan Biker Man back in the mix. They're going to rebuild from the ground up. It's going to be the
brick
Good
by
Brothers,
brick.
Brick by brick. Chase Owens. They're going to get Gino in the mix, right? Maybe this Robbie X thing is an angle. Maybe he's going to attack the old Bone Soldier from behind and pledge his allegiance to the OG Bullet Club, right? Let me tell you. Who has NWO black and white energy stronger than Luke Gallows?
So much black and white energy. So
he
much Brian Adams. So much Brian Adams energy. Yeah.
I mean, he just has the NWO. If you told me that Luke Gallows was in the NWO black and white, I might actually believe you if I didn't think too hard.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the timelines don't match up. You could maybe slip that in if you ran down the members, and I wouldn't notice that you slipped it in. So I don't know, just something to chew on, Rich. Something to chew on before we talk about the releases.
Oh, God. All right. What else we got? Oh, yeah, this match. Never open weight title. Fucking love this. Konosuke Takeshita, Oleg Boltin, another dumb jock match. 11 minutes. Oleg Boltin, man, this guy is a thing. We recognized that he was going to be a thing a little while ago, and my God, is he a thing. It's the move where he lifts a guy up and then just dances with his body, just moves him from side to side, no matter how big the guy is. He just picks him up, even though Konosuke Takeshita is a giant guy. He just picks him up and goes, and then tosses him over his head and drops him on his fucking neck. Like, my God, the stuff that these guys were doing, just real. Again, like I said, this is New Beginning in Osaka was a Dumb Jock Wrestler show, and this was another one where these guys just, like Drilla Maloney and Shingo Takagi, no bullshit, 11 minutes, bell rings, these guys just beat the fuck out of each other, drop each other on their necks, slap each other, spit at each other, layer at each other, take each other's heads off, and then it's just fucking over because Konosuke Takeshita just says, you know what, I'm done with you, and then drops him on his fucking neck and pins him. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Oleg Boltin / Boltin Oleg. I'm not doing this. We're not doing this.
Oleg Boltin, you said.
That is a hot dog a sandwich of wrestling discussions. I'm not doing it.
I'm just it's just curious to me that you called him Oleg Boltin. That's all. I don't have a problem with you calling him Oleg Boltin.
Yeah, where do you stand on the Oleg Boltin Oleg?
My
debate?
stance is it's very confusing. That's my stance. I don't know the right answer. I contend that no one does. That's my stance, Rich Craich.
There it is. Bah.
You called him Oleg Boltin.
I went by Cage Match has Oleg Boltin, so I'm going with Oleg Boltin. So
Cage Match is like, that's where you copy and pasted this from the run sheet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Oleg Boltin Oleg. I don't know. I asked the New Japan office once, and they didn't even give me a clear answer.
That's how you know it's.
Yeah. I mean, we may have even talked about that. And for good measure, I threw in Francesco Akira and asked them to clear that one up and got no clear answer on that either.
Yeah.
Because you see that one both ways. And it's interesting because you never see like Will Ospreay. You never see Ospreay Will.
Yeah.
Like, or fucking Junior Saber Zach. You never see that. So you can't just say it's just, it's just very confusing. I don't know. But, okay. Yeah, excellent match, though. As Takeshita retains the... did you do an angle after this one? I can't remember if someone came out. There were so many angles on this show.
Yeah, it was an angle-heavy show.
Can't remember if someone came out.
I don't remember either.
Oh, Oiwa. This is Oiwa, right?
Oh, yeah. Right. Oiwa came out.
Yeah, Oiwa came
Takeshita.
out, which
Right.
that's going to be a hell of a match. That's going to be a hell of a match. Yeah. So they've got plans for all these motherfuckers. Like, so again, I ask you, Rich Craich, are you pleased with Gato's directions for these guys?
Hell yeah, I am. Yeah, I was ready to bury this guy. I was throwing the dirt on Gato, but I maybe I was wrong.
You wanted him fired.
Yeah, I did.
You know what you are? I'll tell you what you are. You're an Eagles fan, but Nick Sirianni in week 4. They all wanted to fire Nick Sirianni because he's busy yelling at fans and arguing with the fat security guard and, going for stupid 4th downs and fucking everything else. You're an Eagles fan, and Nick, that's what you are. That's the comp.
I'm ready to sack the manager. I'm a footy fan. I'm ready to sack the manager. Yeah.
After every 1-0 loss, you're just ready to sack the manager. After every clean sheet, you've seen enough where it's ruining your weekend. So that's what you are. You're the impatient soccer fan. You're the impatient hooligan soccer fan is what you are.
Yep.
You're throwing Molotov cocktails on the Liverpool pitch because you're upset because you want to sack the manager. It's shameful, Rich.
It is. Well, he had.
This is a Hall of Fame booker.
He had a bad run. And I'll call it. He had a bad run. This is a very good. What he's doing right now is great. He got bold again. There was a while where he stopped getting bold and got very conservative and very boring with his booking and very, very safe with a lot of his booking. And I'm glad that he hasn't. I'm glad that he's decided to get a little crazy here. And you're seeing the elevations. You're seeing all these things sort of happen. But it took a long time to get here. So no, I'm fair about it. I think I've been fair about it for a while. I think he had a very bad booking run, and now he's on a very good booking run again.
You would have fired Phil Jackson year 1.
Year 1? No, not year 1. Not year 1.
Year 2, you would have fired Phil Jackson.
Maybe
for not giving Craig Hodges enough minutes or something is what you would have done. Craig Hodges.
Yeah, probably.
By the way, he's going to win the 3-point contest. On Saturday.
That's
my
pick. In his
Craig
NBA
Hodges.
jersey, because he's not affiliated with any team at this time. So
yeah, he really did that. He was on no team and he was in the 3-point. I remember that
because he won the 92. He won the 92 3-point contest when he was a Bull, and then they were like, "Well, we got to bring him back," and they're like, "Well, Craig's not on any team right now." They're like, "Ah, shit!" So he just showed up with like an NBA jersey.
Yeah. I think Craig Hodges is going to edge out Jim Less in the final.
Wow,
going to be the final.
Okay, all right. You don't think Mark Price has got a chance?
I think they should do a Legends 3-point contest.
I bet some of those guys could. Yeah, some of those guys could still. Dan Marley could still throw.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many racks, but yeah, you do pretty well. I think he could.
I think he's still Phoenix's most eligible bachelor.
Dan Marley, Thunder Dan. Yeah, he's still a good-looking guy.
Well, I wonder what happened to Lightning, because he's Thunder Dan because when he was at Central Michigan, his teammate was Lightning whoever the fuck. And I guess that explains whatever happened to Lightning, right? We don't even know who that is anymore.
Know the guy's name.
So, it was Thunder and Lightning.
It was Thunder Dan Marley and a guy that was nicknamed Lightning.
Right. Probably some shit point guard that just dribbled fast or something. Is probably what it was. It's a good project for someone in the chat to look up. See if you can find out who Lightning was on Central
Michigan. Yeah.
in 1987, I guess it was.
I could probably. I played basketball with a guy who went to Central Michigan with Thunder Dan Marley. You want me to ask him, or I'll wait? Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
In the chat room. Let's see.
See if that guy knows, though. I'd be curious if he remembers who Lightning is. He might just take a deep drag from a cigarette and go, "You're looking at him."
Yeah, we might have met him. He's a hell of a baller. He is a hell of a baller.
Maybe he is Lightning. Maybe that's the guy. All right, so next up was the Young Bucks. I got to tell you, they put in a tremendous performance here.
They tried.
Dropping the IWGP Tag Team titles to Hiromu and Tetsuya Naito. Look, not going to harp on it. Just going to politely say it. I am once again asking Tetsuya Naito to consider never doing the Destino again. Just consider it. Just you're Tetsuya Naito. You have the fans in the palm of your hands. You can get anything over that you desire. You can do.
By the way, Joe, instantly, you ready? Got it back.
Yeah.
Within a minute. Irving Levy, a shooting guard.
Oh, you texted the guy.
I texted the guy, and in a minute he said Irvin Levy, a shooting guard. Now he's texting me even more. I've opened up a Pandora's box because my man's like, "You want to talk 1990 Central Michigan? Let's go." Yeah. Because his wife isn't saying, "Hey, insert man's name. Who was the Lightning and Thunder and Lightning on your Central Michigan college team?" Like, that's not coming up.
No,
that's not coming up.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, he's typing and he's ready to go. Yeah, Irvin Levy. Irvin Levy was Lightning.
Irvin Levy, IRVIN.
Yeah. Not Irvin Magic Johnson. Irvin Levy. Yeah, I don't know if he
Googled that. I Googled that, and the first thing that came up was an obituary, but it's not him.
Okay. He had 2 years in Central Michigan, and that is it. He was drafted by the Chicago Bulls in the 7th round of the 1987 NBA draft. It does not look like he did not look
same
like he,
draft.
Yeah.
Irvin Levy. Okay. Didn't make that Bulls squad.
Nah.
Can't really Google this guy.
No.
Kind of a mystery.
It's kind of it. Yeah.
He was everything documented on the internet, so it's hard to gather much information on him. Anyway, look, Naito could get any move over he wants. He could just pick a submission, do a full Nelson like Chris Masters or something. Pick anything. Just a single leg crab, something easy you could do to everyone. That's easy on those cranky knees, right? Just a suggestion, because once a match he's got to blow one, and then the ones he hits don't exactly look very nice either. But yeah, as expected, the Bucks finally dropped the titles here, and we will have the LIJ Tag Team Champions. I'm sure they're going to headline smaller shows, put them on top in Corkin, whatever you need to do. And this is, as we've talked about ad nauseum, a very good place for Tetsuya Naito to be in at this point in his career.
Yeah, it's a good way to draw. It's a good way to draw. It's a good way to put those tag team titles on the top. I mean, I would hope that the matches get a little bit better as time goes on. I would hope that, but I just don't know if they're going to. And Hiromu is going to have to either step it up a little bit, given where his partner is. But I don't know that I don't know if he really wants to, or if he's really capable of doing that anymore either. So I'm a little worried about some of these matches moving forward. Not as worried as I am about Hiroshi Tanahashi matches, but not far off. This was rough from that side. But the Bucks worked their asses off, tried to get something out of it, and we'll see what the rest of this tag team title reign looks like for Hiromu and Naito. But I think it's a smart business move to put the titles on them for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, look, the Bucks, they came in, they worked 3 matches, and they worked their asses off in all of them. So I doubt they'll be back at this point. They did their little program here, and while they were away from AEW TV, and now they get to come back to AEW, maybe repackaged a little bit. Because I don't think they've been back since they ran away from the Death.
That's it.
Riders,
yeah,
right?
when they were shredding the papers and running away or whatever. Yeah, that was it for them.
Yeah, so we can get away from Bucks doing the parody, the EVP thing, and all the CM Punk jokes that everybody's tired of, and we could just get back to doing whatever we're going to do next. So Yota Tsuji versus Gabe Kidd. Now we were like, look, this is like, there's no. Like, both guys should win, right? Was the discussion going in. And then they did the great double KO finish. So they kind of agreed.
They agreed with us.
Guys should really be losing here. in another match that was just sensational. I mean, we've talked about this whole show at this point and haven't even mentioned this match yet. It was probably the best match on the show. I mean,
it's neck and neck. Goto and Sabre
was
was my favorite, but this one is very fucking close to it.
This is a great match. I mean, this is a match that I can see getting down ballot match of the year votes.
Yes,
at year's end, I thought it was that good. It was that physical. Gabe Kidd is doing exactly what we suggested he should do. Just tone it down a little. That's all. Tone it down a little. You don't have to be over the top edgy boy. It works against you. His body is perfect. He's got these thick tree trunk thighs now. He's a little beefy in the middle without being a fatso. You know what I mean? And it's like he has
big
this
chest.
great...
He's got like a territory body. He's got like an old territory body where he's got a big thick chest, big tree trunk thighs. He doesn't do much cardio. He doesn't do. Who's he shaped like?
Shaped like when Bruno had the perm, like that era of Bruno. That's what he's shaped like.
Yeah. Right.
He's shaped like he's got a big match coming up who was the Australian guy that Bruno Spiro
Spiros Arion,
Yeah, it looks like he's got a big match with Spiros Arion coming up at the Garden, is what Gabe Kidd looks like. That's the body he's got now.
Yeah, big shoulders, thick chest, little light in the stomach, but who cares? That's fine. Then the big tree trunk thighs and some body hair, and it's a good look. It's a good look.
Heavy in the stomach. He put on weight.
Yeah.
It's good. He's a big, strong, thick boy is what he is now. And he's just, and look, he's toned it down just enough to where he still has that scary edge to him. That's the key, where he's a little unhinged. He's the guy where you don't know what's going to set him off. He's that uncomfortable friend in the group that you never know if they're going to start a fight when you go out. Like that's his energy.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect energy for him without being a fucking tryhard, which is what he was doing previous to this. He felt it out. He found himself now. And I think what also is going to help is the War Dogs basically went babyface, right? I mean, that was the whole end result of a lot of this. So that's going to help too. And man, the match kicked ass. It was hard. It was physical. It was nasty. They did the big angle afterwards. The War Dogs are now split from the Bullet Club. Evil came down and the House of Torture came down. And I don't even know. I guess House of Torture is still technically part of Bullet Club. But just a little offshoot. They're not with Chase Owens, Rich, is the point.
They're not with Gino Gambino, Chase Owens, and the Machine Gun
Cut. The Good Brothers. Yeah. Right. So, but War Dogs are out. They're now full-on babyface, which is the way to go with them. That's the move. I love how Clark Connors, who was on commentary, and by the way, I watched this whole show, and Clark Connors is doing commentary, and I'm like, he sounds like somebody. He sounds like someone I know. Who the fuck does he sound like? And it finally hit me at the end of the show.
Do I want to know this? Do I want to know?
No, listen, you won't be able to unhear it. Clark Connors sounds like Mike. He sounds like Mike Gilbert of the Mike and JD show.
Oh, he does. Yes, he does.
They have like the same fucking voice, the same cadence. Like Clark Connors is more of like a slightly more stoner vibe than Mike Gilbert, but they have the same fucking voice. He sounds like Mike Gilbert,
right.
But
he does. Mike and JG show, by the way, Voice Wrestling Podcast Network.
It starts in a couple minutes because
not anymore. Not anymore.
Oh, no more Thursdays.
They're on Sundays now. Yeah.
So, that's right. Yeah. So, they do the big angle afterwards, and Kid, the War Dogs do the turn, and I love the double KO finish. That was perfect for this scenario. And
the good thing about the double KO is both men are kind of up too. It's not like there's one way. There's two ways to do the double KO. There's a way to do the double KO when both guys are just out and you count to 10. Both these men were like up and trying to get up, but they just couldn't get up. You know what I mean? They were both just like, no, I'll get up because they're dumb jock idiots. You know what I mean? They're like, no, I got it. Don't count us out. And then it got to 10 and they both couldn't get up. You know what I mean? But I like that style versus like, they do big moves and they just lay on the ground exhausted. These men were exhausted, but the idea was, no, I just need one more second and then I can get up and it'll be fine. And ultimately neither could get up and then they called it. And I thought that finish was phenomenal. Looks like we lost Joe here. We'll be reconnect with him back in a second. Just give
I'm here. All
right, he's here. All right, Joe is back. We are good.
Step away for a second.
You were good. No problem. Take your time. But we're. I was just talking about the end of that match. I love the double KO and just yet another match on the show that really landed with me being just a Dumb Jock Wrestling show. I mean, when you look at it, you have Joe Maloney and Shingo. Really great Okada and Umino. I mean, great Okada was just being a dumb jock idiot the whole time, just fucking, just mauling at this guy and ripping at his face. And then you have Konosuke Takeshi and Oleg Bolton and Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd and then Goto and Zack Sabre Jr. And again, I will reiterate this, and I talked about it a lot behind the paywall, and I'm doing these Flagship Plus episodes. One of the big things I put over about Deadlock Pro Wrestling, as an American indie, is their shows in and out in 2 hours. Maybe it's 2.5 hours, but you're in and out, and every match is getting 8 to 12 minutes, and that's it. That's all. We don't need a 25-minute indie match. We don't need the opening match to go 19 minutes. No, just get in and out in under 10 minutes, and I want more wrestling to be okay with that. I want to normalize wrestling matches being great at just 20 minutes and just 10 minutes and just 15 minutes. It's okay. We don't need to pass this threshold. I think we got so caught up in every single match having to be a big, long, giant epic, and we all have to do all of our things and everything that we want to do and spend all this time to tell a story and the drama of it in the ring and stuff, and we don't need to do that. So many years of wrestling was not that, and so much wrestling was not long, drawn out, deliberate, slow, methodical main events and doing a kick out, having a big move and somebody kicking out and grabbing your head for 15 seconds and going, oh no, I can't believe it. We can make these things quicker, and Deadlock does a great job of getting you in and out in 2.5 hours. And I thought this show too did a great job of having a lot of these big important matches just be comfortable and just be okay with doing 10 minutes and just going out there and the bell rings and it's all action, and then you're out. You know what I mean? You could tell the exact same story and you get it across way better. And look, this crowd was going nuts for this entire show because you were watching boxing. You were watching prize fights, basically. Kind of going back to New Japan's old days where you're watching these matches and they feel, because of how fast-paced and hard-hitting they were, you felt like you were watching a fight and you couldn't take a chance to settle down or chill out or grab your phone or go get food. It was just you couldn't take your eyes away from a lot of these matches because it was just all action the whole time. And yeah, it just absolutely, this is my kind of wrestling show. If you want to find out a show that really works for me and is exactly what I want out of wrestling, New Beginning in Osaka 2025. That's it. That's the essence right there.
Yeah, and the point I was going to make with Clark Connors is, when the big fight broke out, he left the broadcast position basically just to get murked. He gets knocked out, right? And he gets beat up. And then he comes back a few minutes later to call the Goto Sabre match. And Walker Stewart's like, oh, Clark, you're back. He's like, yeah, man, I wasn't going to miss this. Right after he gets beat up in an angle. Yeah, right. But he just reorganizes for a couple seconds in the back. And then he comes back out to call history and call the Hirooki Goto match, which will be an interesting trivia question someday. Who called the Hirooki Goto IWGP title win? It was a lot of people will get Walker Stewart. Very few people are going to remember that Clark Connors.
Yeah, he's pretty
was
good.
On the call for that.
He's
match.
pretty good. He was good. He's good. They've done a couple. I don't know if you watched the recent ones, but there's Jeff Cobb, who's not good at all. Jeff Cobb's really bad at it, and a couple of other guys have jumped on. But yeah, Clark's probably the best. They may have found another guy that they can use in the future. He's solid.
All right, so we have so many topics to get to, and we barely got through one topic, so we have to get moving here. But New Beginning, great show, and obviously we already talked about the main event, so that's that. But let's quickly do the New Japan Cup brackets, which were announced, which at least now they're just saying flat out, look, the buys are done at random.
Right.
Because remember, we don't
try, we don't care. We're just they're random. Don't try to think about why this guy got a buy. He just got a buy. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah. I don't know if the Japanese side of the social media handles it the same way, but Chris Charlton, who handles the English side, he just flat out saying, now look, the buys are random. Please don't harass us about the buys. But we've got Yota Tsuji versus Evil, and the winner of that faces David Finlay. So Finlay will be back for the New Japan Cup. I think that's the big story there, and I think obviously he's got to be one of the favorites to win the whole thing.
Yeah, right? There was a lot of buzz about him possibly being in the Rumble or possibly going to WWE, but it looks like that's not happening.
Bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, because here he is in the New Japan Cup. Starting, by the way, this starts March 7th, the New Japan Cup, night one, March 7th.
Yeah, and look, Evil will probably win because then you have the whole War Dogs and Bullet Club thing in the next round, right?
Yeah.
With Finley and Evil. So that would make sense there. Yuya Uemura versus Sonata, for obvious reasons. We just saw the angle at the pay-per-view, so they're going to have a first round match. The winner takes on Yoshihashi. Once again, the buys are random. Ryohei Oiwa versus Chase Owens, as we're going to quickly find out if he's the last man repping the Bullet Club, and the winner takes on Zack Sabre Jr. And then Gabe Kidd versus Ren Narita, who didn't have a match at New Beginning. Oh, yeah, he was hurt too, right? So he must be coming back from an injury, I think. I think he's been hurt. Did he work the tour?
Ren Narita, I don't know. But, let me double check.
Remember, he got hurt. He did get injured too, but I don't know.
Yeah, I forget when he got back. It looks like he's been back for the Road to New Beginning tour. He's been back. There you go.
So he faced Gabe Kidd, and the winner of that faces Taichi. And then on the other side, we got Phantasmo versus Okan with Shota Umino. So we'll get to see what's up with him with the shaved head and everything. Now Phantasmo's a TV champ, but Okan Umino rematch with Umino getting the win back sure seems like it, right? So Naito versus Callum Newman, the winner faces Jeff Cobb. So unfortunately, that's at least 2 more Naito matches. I don't know. I don't want to watch this guy wrestle anymore. Taiji Ishimori versus Drilla Maloney. Winner faces TJP, and we kind of talked about this already, right? So it seems like Drilla Maloney would win.
Tomohiro Ishii, big difference there. Tomohiro Ishii versus Drilla Maloney.
What'd I say?
You said Taiji Ishimori.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's definitely Big Tom-ish.
Yeah, which is a lot more fun than because I was like, I remember being really excited about the Drilla Maloney first round match, and then you said that, and I was like, I'm not really that excited about that.
No, definitely.
Big Tom-ish
we just talked about
and Drilla,
so.
Yes.
Yeah, so he'll probably get through that and TJP and face and have a rematch for Shingo, because Shingo faces the winner of Boltin Oleg.
Well, see, now this I copied. Okay, so this I copied from New Japan's tweet that had the graphic on there. So this one says Boltin Oleg, even though earlier today, this is what we're saying. This is the problem. I don't know.
But why does it say Fale Luck Bad? See, now it's all... No, so he takes on Bullet Club Rogue Army leader, Bad Luck Fale. So... I mean, why? Why can't it be literally anyone else? Why did I have to drag Fale
this asshole? You're gonna fly this asshole over here to have this
lose a first round match.
This lazy ass performance. Hopefully, Oleg just beats him in like a minute. You know what I mean? Just picks him up, drops him on his head, and pins him 1, 2, 3. Get the hell out of my ring.
I think you just answered the question as to why they're flying Fale in. I think they want Oleg Boltin to beat a big, impressive individual.
Yeah,
Would that be why?
I wonder if maybe Fale takes a drag of that Sig and goes, I don't know, brother. I don't know if that's going to work for me, brother.
No, he doesn't care. Remember, he's pin me, pay me guy.
Yeah, pin me, pay me. Yeah, what did that shirt say? Don't care, F off, or whatever the fuck? Yeah,
don't care, fuck off, do the job, or whatever it said. Just, God, I would never book him again. Anniversary show, March 6th, as always, at the Ota City Gym. Hirooki Goto versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. We talked about that a bit. El Desperado versus Francesco Akira. Remember, he made that challenge after Despy beat who'd he beat in Cork and
Fujita, Kosei Fujita.
Fujita, yeah. So Akira made the challenge there, so that'll be the semi-main event, and then basically just tags up and down the rest of the card, right?
Yeah.
Phantasmo's mystery opponent for the television title.
X got an X.
So. Oh, look at this. Bullet Club. Fale and Chase Owens teaming together.
Oh, okay. So the Rogue Army technically...
Yeah. So the Rogue Army, they're cool with the Bullet Club OG.
Yeah.
They're cool with the Bullet Club OG. So Chase Owens lost his tag partner, but he had gained his other older... He used to tag with Fale, so...
Let's do it. Well, 90 days? No, they won't be 90 days by that point. I was going to say Hartley Jackson, Iwar, TMDK is putting the boots of the undermanned Bad Luck Fale Chase Owens Bullet Club, and then here comes coming up. But the 90 days will not be up by that, I don't think so.
No, too bad. That's too bad.
Yeah,
that's too bad. Speaking of which, good transition. Next topic, we got some WWE and AEW releases. Now, some of these were contracts coming due as opposed to being cut. Now, in AEW, we talked about Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks and Miro were let go early. So Tony had a change of philosophy or a change of heart there. Do you think there's anything to Tony waiting until WrestleMania plans were basically in stone before he let some people loose? Or do you think I'm overthinking?
With those guys, I don't think he thought that Miro was going to be. I wonder. I think he just went to the Super Bowl and then was just like, hey, "What am I doing? Who fucking cares? Yeah, you want to go? Go. Get out of here. Just go ahead." Like, I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. He was just like hobnobbing with big time celebrities and stuff, and just thought, "This is stupid. What am I doing for Miro? Why am I paying Miro more? I don't have to pay Miro anymore." No, I highly doubt that he thought, "Oh, WrestleMania plans are settled, so now I'll release Miro because they can't use Rusev in some big time WrestleMania thing." I don't think so. I don't know what happened. He just woke up and maybe said, "I'm sick of paying these guys. They don't want to be here. Screw it." Maybe he's feeling himself after some good shows recently and is just saying, you know what? I'm never going to use these guys ever again. Screw it. I'm done doing this. Or the Guantanamo Bay got at him enough, and he was just like, I don't like that nickname, so I'm going to release these guys. I don't know. Who knows? Who's to say?
Do you think it's close enough to when their contracts were coming due anyway that he feels like he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish?
Maybe.
And
it's been long enough.
I have you guys.
These guys are pretty ice cold because of how long he didn't use them. Like, you forget Miro's even a wrestler. You know what I mean? It's been so long since you've seen Miro. So yeah, maybe he's like, all right, look, it's enough time has passed. Enough, whatever. You want to go now, you can go now.
Well, Miro, I agree, but I think guys like Starks and Phoenix are just hotter for being iced out. I feel like it's creating more buzz for them. And like we talked about, I think WWE dropped the ball with Starks, but I think Phoenix is going to be hotter when he comes in than he would have been if he just let him go with Penta.
So the one thing I will say about that is I do think it would be the case if Penta was still hot, but I feel like Penta's cooled off a lot too, so I don't know that Phoenix feels as hot.
Main event
because of it.
Main event.
He did work WWE
that
main
was
event.
Fast.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have a great showing at the Royal Rumble. He fucked up the big spot, and then he fucked up another spot with Rey Mysterio. So there's a good chance that
he's fucked up spots in every match he's been in.
Yes, that's Penta. Yeah,
that's the Penta experience, But yeah, that didn't take long. If we'll give it another week.
Of course.
Maybe they didn't have anything for him that night, right? You got to grant a little bit of leniency there. But look, if he's on main event again next week, mixing it up with whoever the fuck, I don't even know who's on main event these days. Grayson Waller, maybe. Then yeah, I think that.
I think that's literally who he faced. Didn't he face Grayson Waller?
Probably. I mean, I just pulled that name out of my ass, but I haven't seen him on TV in a long time.
Well, he's an NXT superstar. That's why you didn't.
No, Grayson Waller got called up ages ago.
Well, sir, I hate to tell you.
Uh-oh. Breaking news. What happened with Grayson Waller?
Well, him and Austin Theory are on NXT. They're arguing. They're doing a breakup angle of A-Town Down Under, right? Wasn't it A-Town Down Under was their team? Yeah. They're doing a breakup angle on NXT. so
they moved that angle to NXT.
Yes, correct.
That's not good
great
for either of those men.
No.
That's a bad sign.
It is not a good sign at all.
Number one, you've exposed me as not watching NXT, which I don't think required much exposing.
Also exposed you for not watching main event. He did face Grayson Waller. Penta did face Grayson Waller at main event. So
I'm going to pretend I knew that. See, I knew that. So we'll see next week. But yeah, anyway, so he lets them go a little early. And the thing with Malachi Black, the third person in question here.
Bye, bitch. Get the fuck out of
here. Take your velvet antlers and get the fuck out of here.
God.
So his contract was actually up. So this was a contract expiration.
Perfect. Great.
But I saw somebody report, I don't remember who it was. So I'm not trying not to credit someone. I just can't remember. We know it was one of three people. It was either Sapp, Meltzer, or Johnson. But one of them reported that Tony was mulling adding injury time and then said, you know what, fuck it. Just because I think Black was like threatening to get lawyers involved.
I think that was Wade Keller that actually said
was
that.
Was it Wade? Oh,
yeah. Wade
Keller has entered the chat.
Coming out of nowhere with a scooperoo here. It says Wade Keller, contract expiration date had been a point of contention as he had a lot of time added to the expiration date due to injury. He recently pushed back against that, even considering getting lawyers involved, and a deal was reached.
Yeah, I think Tony basically thought to himself, why am I going to fight this dork in court? Just go. Just take your shit and get the fuck out. It's I talked about this on one of my paywall shows, but I feel like whatever the House of Black is calling themselves now, it's some dorky name, like the Wolves of Destiny.
The Hounds of Justice, or whatever.
Hounds of Hell.
No, the
Hounds of Hell, I think.
Hounds of Hell or Hell Hounds or something like that, yeah.
I feel like now that he's out of the company, it's like there's this palpable sense that they even feel like something.
The weight of that guy is off of them. You know what I mean?
It's off of them. Yeah, it's like
your career is not attached to that guy, and there's an energy there that you could definitely tell.
There's an energy. Do you hear these big match buddy promos now? It's like he's comfortable. Am I making it like?
No.
You
You are not. No, you are not. It feel the weight is off their shoulders for sure. And Buddy's been better. He's had better promos, better matches, better everything.
Yes. And it's like, I feel like they are relieved. Like they have exhaled. That's the feeling you get when you watch them as a group. It's crazy, you know? But the other thing was Black, he's such a weird guy, okay? Because, well, we know he's a weird guy. But he's also a weird guy in the sense that, remember, he had that match against Adam Cole. And Cole beat him, and they hugged it out. And
like bowed and
Cole
stuff.
endorsed him, and he did the bow. And then everyone was like, "Oh, that felt like a write-off," because it felt like a fucking write-off, right? And
because he got in the ring and bowed and sat in the middle and then shaked his hand and then hugged or whatever. Yeah. And then Mel
and then
Black
you got up
upset
on the stage and bowed and everything.
Right.
And then so then he gets annoyed because fans speculated that it was a write-off. And didn't he do like a notes app thing? Or something
he did like a
where
notes app. He's like, don't believe everything you read on it. It's like
nobody knows about my career except for me. Do not believe the things that you read.
Why are you bowing and hugging then? What are you doing?
The cards of the destiny upon us may not always be what you perceive them to be.
As the waxing gibbous fades into the sunlight of the day, I will emerge, still part of AEW. And it's like, what are you doing? Go away.
Do not allow the eye of Newt to betray your senses. Everything you see may not be as it appears. As the velvet rhino horn of life. You know, and he's like complaining that people thinks it's a right, and then it ended up being a fucking write-off.
Yeah, right? Was that it? He never wrestled again, right?
That was it. That was his last match. He was gone. It absolutely was a write-off.
Go away.
So he goes online and chastises everybody, and it turns out everyone was telling it, like, what's his problem? He wanted to leave. He was waiting for his contract to run out. We all saw him bow into the crowd. Why was he annoyed that people rightfully assumed
he's just annoying?
What
I don't know.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, it used to be a bit, but now I'm mad. Like, now I hate him. Like, because he's annoying. He's so annoying, this man. What the fuck is his deal, Rich?
I'm just ready to be done with.
Can you explain this man?
No, I can't explain Mal Black. Are you kidding me? No, I cannot explain Tom End / Mal Black. No, I'm not going to. You can't make.
He's like this guy. He has to control the narrative.
Right?
Is that what it is? It's like, you know, it's like he has to control it. Like, and then everything he says turns out to be the opposite with this guy. Completely full of shit.
I'd have let him go the first time he bowed in front of the crowd. Get the fuck out.
Oh my god! Fuck this guy. He's just so annoying. Could you imagine like being friends with this guy? Like, that's
the Buddy. That's what we're talking about with Buddy. Your career is linked. Your career is linked to that guy who's such your career is attached to the guy who, after he bowed and hugged and bowed and bowed and bowed, said, "Oh, I'm not leaving. Why does everybody think I'm leaving?" and whatever, and then was leaving, and that was done. Like, your career was linked to that guy. Of course, that'd be exhausting as hell. Of course, go away.
The serpent often betrays the owl, and you
Right.
must be careful of this deception. Do not be deceived.
That one of our all-time great segments was us recapping his Twitch streams. We're just the best.
Yeah.
His Twitch streams about his lore books or whatever, and I love the glee in his voice as he goes, "Yeah, a lot of people there didn't love my ideas, but Vince McMahon always said I had very good ideas." And you just know, the second Tom End was in that room and being like, yeah, so then I spray you with the black mist, which renders you blind, and then we have a match at WrestleMania or whatever.
Yeah,
and
he
Vince,
wanted to kidnap Vince McMahon.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
That was his big idea.
His big idea was I kidnapped Vince McMahon and I main event WrestleMania or whatever. And he tells it that Vince is like, God damn, I love it. Great work. Yeah, I love it. And then, the second that door closed, he looked to Bruce and just said, fuck is this guy talking about?
They're like, Bruce, you tell Damian Demento to never come in my office again.
Right.
He has no idea who he is.
Bruce, who the hell was that? I think that's what we said. That Malachi Black's doing this long, 25-minute, 45-minute thing. And then it's Backlash. We have a Hell in the Cell match where once and for all. And then Vince goes, it's really good ideas. Thank you so much for coming. And then he leaves and goes, who the hell is that?
That's a great idea, Midian. Please.
Yeah. Bruce,
give us more, Midian.
Yeah, who the fuck was that?
I thought we fired Midian 8 years ago. Who is that man? Why is he here?
Go away.
Yeah. Vince loved the idea so much that he
fired you. Yeah, he's doing these Twitch streams after he got fired. And we were talking about that. We're like, oh, yeah, a lot of other people didn't see, my ways, but Vince loved me. Yeah, he fired you. You're doing this Twitch stream because you're fired, dude.
Remember when he was doing the thing with the eye paint where there was lore behind how much lightning was around his eyes and shit? God. And then he just dropped it because no one was picking up on this lore except
he got annoyed. He got very mad about that too. He was like, no, 5 lightning strikes to the left mean that I'm cured, or it's all just
whatever the fuck. God, he's the worst.
Go away.
Oh my God, soon to be feuding with Andrade over the speed title is what it is.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's exactly what he is. The pits. So anyway, Malachi Black is gone from AEW.
Will be missed. He will be missed.
Yeah. On a more serious note, Bear Boulder was released from AEW after the company became privy to his arrest on January 13th for battery by strangulation, which sounds awful. And apparently it was his. I don't know if it's his wife.
Did you read the police report? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. Don't read that if it's the kind of thing that bothers you. But you got to fear for Bear Bronson, the other Iron Savage, and to a lesser extent, I guess, the third guy. But really, Bear Bronson, since those guys have been a tag team going back really to the very starts of their careers, and now. He's got to figure it out. He has to be a little bit worried, at least, that, that his value to the company isn't there if he doesn't have his partner. But I don't think, you'd have to worry about that sort of thing necessarily. You have to worry about it less, at least with Tony Khan, than you would maybe in some other companies. But it's a rough situation for him, by nothing of his doing. And, he's going to lose his TV spot and everything, presumably. And
when your career is so linked to a guy and to the point where we mix these, I mixed them up in my notes or whatever because I'm thinking of Bear Boulder, but I wrote Bear Bronson. You know what I mean? It's You don't know the guy. I mean, people know the guy as one half of that tag team, and that's going to be really tough to kind of carve out his own career without that. And he's going to have to. But that's going to be a very.
It's also tricky because apparently they're close friends and
right.
Their wives know. I don't know if it was a wife or a girlfriend, but it was definitely a domestic partner of some sort that he did this to. But yeah, even the domestic partners in this, I think Bronson's married to his lady, but I'm not sure about Boulder. But the point is it's a close group of friends. It's a whole mess for that man, so it throws a bunch of people's lives upside down, because this guy did this, obviously, dastardly, thing to his domestic partner. Is it a wife or a girlfriend? Did we figure that out? Or
yeah, I'm trying to look right now. Let me see.
Yes, it doesn't really matter, but just for posterity, obviously, someone he trusted
fiance. So we were both kind of right.
Fiance, yeah, right in the middle. We'll meet in the middle. So fiance, but that's the end of Bear Boulder. He is done, and his career is likely done. So that's the end of that guy. And we'll move on to WWE now. A number of releases, and I guess we can give quick thoughts on potential futures for these guys. Authors of Pain, Akam and Rezar. This is release number 2 for these fellas. So along with Paul Ellering, who
stealing money. My God, did Paul Ellering? Did he add one thing? Did Paul Ellering add one thing this entire tenure there? Did he add one thing to any act that he was a part of?
No, not anything. He, in fact, probably took away from being attached to these acts because most viewers were probably like, who's the old guy who comes out with author? They never gave him much to do or say, and it's just he added nothing. I was stunned when they brought him back with the Authors of Pain after they had let all of them go. But I don't know. These guys did nothing the last time they were released. They didn't seem particularly motivated to continue a career in pro wrestling.
They had that Qatar NFT promotion. I don't know what you're talking about. Remember the Qatar Akam and Razor NFT promotion? I don't know if that actually happened, but maybe they can go back and do that. But yeah, we won't hear from them for a while.
I don't like their prospects moving forward because they did nothing last time they were free. And Paul Ellering, obviously he's going to move on and enjoy the rest of his life. I don't think he has a future in pro wrestling at this point either. So Cedric Alexander is next on the list. And obviously the connection that everybody is making is that he can come right in and step into the Hurt business or Hurt Syndicate rather, since he's linked to them. It's no secret that the Hurt Syndicate is a direct continuation of the Hurt business and the storylines of the WWE. So it's not as if it would be part of the canon if they let him in the group. I think it would be a good idea for 2 reasons. Number one, the Hurt Syndicate could really use a pin eater because the idea was Shelton would be that guy, but Shelton has overperformed to such a degree that he can't be a pin eater anymore or shouldn't be. So you can bring Ced into the group since MVP is not going to wrestle much, and there's your loss post, right? So, and every group needs a guy like that. So from that standpoint, it makes sense. From the other standpoint, Tony Khan can be the bigger man because the whole elephant in the room here is Cedric Alexander is married to
Correct.
Big Swole.
Yeah, right. I was going to bring that up. There's always that part of it. Yes.
Yeah, and that whole mess. And Tony could be the bigger man and say, you know what? It's bygones are bygones. It was 3 years ago or whatever it was. It's water under the bridge. And no, I'm not going to hold that against, Cedric Alexander. If in fact, I would think that the Hurt Syndicate would push for this. Their act is over. They've been nothing but a home run success since they got there. They probably have a little bit of stroke. I think if they want him, they're going to get him. So I would not be stunned at all if Cedric Alexander ends up in AEW. What do you think?
It seems like they're a great place to end up, but yeah, you got to figure that whole thing out. So either Cedric's gonna have to, or everyone is gonna have to get to the table and just apologize for what happened in the past or whatever. But Cedric coming in AEW and being a part of the syndicate, it makes all the sense in the world. And like you said, for the exact reason that you need a pin eater right now, it's kind of tough to figure out. I mean, most times it should be Shelton, but having kind of a junior in that unit, for lack of a better term, with Cedric would be, it would help them a lot. And it's a continuation of the story that they told of the original unit, which is essentially what this unit is. This unit is a continuation of what they were in WWE. And while normally I'm, like that guy that's like, oh, don't sign ex-WWE guys, I think Cedric's still phenomenally talented and definitely still underexposed. Like WWE had this guy for, God, when did he sign there? 2016, right? He was part of the Cruiserweight Classic. And they just never, ever knew what they had in this guy. And I still think there's a ton of talent there. So yeah, I think he's exactly the type of guy that I do sign because I think he's still hungry and I think he's still pretty damn great. So yeah, I'd have no problem picking up.
And there's a very easy role for him to slide into too, because right now it's tricky with Hurt Syndicate because when they're involved in a feud, it's like you don't want to beat either guy. You definitely don't want to beat Bobby. And Shelton's been so good that you don't want to beat him either. Well, if you have him in the mix, they could do trios matches and he could eat pins to keep storylines going and to put heat on things. And he's a really good hand. So it's perfect. So, I mean, that's a phone call that I would have made already if it hasn't already been made. Sonya Deville. Hair up, square up.
Oh, man. The end of Hair Up, Square
It's
Up.
over. It's over. She'd been there a long time. Got a decent little run in the Rumble with Team Angry Lesbian there. I thought they treated them very well in the Rumble, and they all looked good and everything. So it's a little bit surprising that they gave up on her. She had been there forever. She's a good talker, and so we know she could do that. She had the general manager role with Adam Pearce for a long time. I think she has a good TV presence. She's an okay wrestler, nothing to
she never got
write
good.
home about.
She never got good, but she's fine.
She's fine. Yeah, she's perfectly fine and competent. I think if she wants to continue in pro wrestling, that she can. Someone's going to give her a chance because, and look, and she can go back to being Daria Baronato, which, it's a much better name than Sonya Deville anyway, right? It's that Italian-American discrimination in WWE. They take Daria Baronato and strip away her Italian heritage. They take Gianna Daddio and turn her into Liv Morgan. What is it with WWE?
You're right.
It is anti-Italian discrimination.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Gianna Daddio.
What
are we doing? What are we doing? Gianna Daddio, and that's not good enough?
Gift wrapped Gianna Daddio, and you change that. Like, what are we doing? And Sonya Deville, she just looks like a Daria Baronato.
Yeah.
She looks like that name. Like, oh, that name makes sense. So, anyway, I don't know. I mean, would I be knocking down her door if I'm AEW?
Oh God, no. She's got it. She go to TNA, go elsewhere. That's where I would do it with Sonya.
Yeah, but if she wants to keep it wrestling, then someone's going to hire her, I think. Blair Davenport, who Bully Ray thought was still dating Will Ospreay.
For people that didn't see this, Bully Ray, this big red head on his stupid dumb show, was like, yeah, you know what? You know why they released her? Because Will Ospreay's talking shit about Stephanie and Triple H. You got to be careful. You'll get people fired. It's like, brother, they haven't been dating for years. So I don't think the comments a year ago from her ex was the reason why they let her go. But, I'm not on the most listened to pro wrestling radio show, so what do I know?
I think it may have been the fact that they didn't put her on TV for the last 6 months. That may have been may have done her in.
That's one theory. It's a theory. Okay, all right, I'll listen. I think it's her ex.
She had her run. She'll get booked like crazy back in Europe. If that's not going to be a problem, if she doesn't get picked up by a TNA or an AEW or a North American television promotion.
Here's one thing real quick before we move on, because we've both mentioned TNA in the last little bits here. I don't think people talk about this enough, but is there something to be said? And I guess we're going to see with this pile of releases and a couple other releases coming forward. Is there something to be said that with the new relationship that TNA and WWE has, that there's one less major league place to work for these people that get released? Because we're going to see. Will these people go to TNA or will they not go to TNA because of the affiliation that WWE and TNA has?
I don't think the talent is going to shy away from signing with TNA. I think the question is,
will they be allowed
to? Right. Or allowed to might be strong. Maybe either flat out allowed to, or TNA feels like it's not in good form to pick I don't know. We're going to find out, like you said. Because there's a lot of people here. There's a big list. And you would think that there would be interest in at least some of them from TNA. So if nobody lands there, I mean, look at the Good Brothers. Obviously, look, I think Carl Anderson has a free pass back to New Japan anytime he wants it. Okay. But I think TNA would take them back. They've been there before. They're guys who never have problems being, getting employed. So it's going to be interesting. I think you make a good point there to see if any of these people do end up with TNA and what that says about their relationship with WWE. I hadn't even thought of that angle.
Because you and I, we both said, that guy, they could go to TNA. That person can go to TNA. Can they? I guess would be the question. Can they go to TNA?
Yeah, I guess we're going to find out. Isla Dawn is, her dumb faces just annoyed me to no end. She would just make these dumb faces all the time doing her little spooky character. And it's interesting. They kept whatever Kaylee Ray's gimmick name is. What's her gimmick name?
Her gimmick name is Alba Fire.
Alba Fire. So
the union, what was there? The unholy union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, so,
for that one match because they wanted them to win in, they wanted them to win the titles in Scotland, and then went, all right, that was fun. Back to Bianca and Jade to go. So,
right. So, Isla Dawn is no more. I've never thought much of her, to be honest.
Nah, she stinks.
Even in her pre-WWE days. So, I don't know. I'm sure, again, much like Blair Davenport is someone who, or I guess we should just go back to calling her, what was Blair Davenport? Bea Priestley.
Bea Priestley, yeah.
I'm sure these people they're going to be able to work, Rev Pro and Progress and any of these places back in the UK. They're going to get booked instantly in places like that. The question is, it's the same question. Do they get another chance on American TV? That's the question for people at that level. Giovanni Vinci, Fabian Achner, a guy that I have been high on for many years.
Oh, he was great.
I mean,
yeah, I went back and watched the Cruiserweight Classic for a series on Patreon. He was fucking great. I was like, my God, this guy is incredible. He's still 34. Yeah. Can you believe he's only 34 years old still?
Yeah, the guy looks the business. He has a great television look. Now, he doesn't have a lot of charisma, but he looks great. And I don't know if he could promo. Probably not, since nobody ever lets him promo. But he is one hell of a wrestler who can do things that you don't think a guy of his size can do. He's someone I would absolutely kick the tires on if you have a spot for him, if you have an idea, if you have a plan. I would hate to see a guy like this. Again, he'll get booked everywhere in Europe. That's not going to be a problem. I would hate to see a guy like this not get another shot with a TV promotion. But I could see it playing out that way. I mean, I could see AEW looking at a guy like this and saying, we have a lot of good workers. What else does he bring to the table? And would he have anybody there to advocate for him? Which is always very important, too. Like Cedric Alexander has people there to advocate for him. Does this guy? I don't know the answer to that. And I don't know that he would have an obvious spot in a place like AEW. So, or even TNA for that matter. So I don't know, but yeah, I really like him, and I don't understand why they gave up on him. I think he fit with the whole Walter and what's Axel Dieter's name?
He is the fuck is that dude's name?
He's working Marcel Bartel.
Yeah. That's Marcel Bartel. Yeah.
I mean, he was with those guys, and they weren't ring comp anymore. They were whatever they called them. And I thought he fit that well. And I don't know. I guess it's just Levesque didn't like him. There's something about him that Levesque didn't like, and that's always what this comes down to. So Giovanni Vinci is no more. It's back to Fabian Achner, and he's a good Italian boy, and hopefully he will land on his feet. We talked about the Good Brothers already. I think they are going to moonwalk into New Japan. So I don't think there's any question about it. And I think Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi have a tag team title feud waiting for him in about 80 days, my friend.
Oh,
in about 80 days.
That match. Can you imagine?
Get into it. And Elektra Lopez. So I have nothing to, I think
you have a strong thought on Elektra Lopez? Yeah.
I think you're never going to see her again. That's what I think.
She's done. Yeah, she'll never wrestle again.
This just reeks of someone who you'll never see again. But I don't know. Again, let's see what her history is here. Let's see. So 32 years old. She came from the Northeast indie scene and was with WWE for 4 years. So I don't know. Maybe she does go back and hit the indies. I mean, she's got a history with the indies.
Oh, did you know this? I had no idea. Her father is Jose Rivera, Steve King from the WWF. Early 80s Steve King jobber guy. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Good for her.
I didn't know that.
So okay, maybe she's got a little bit. Maybe this is.
But I don't know who would book her. She hasn't shown anything.
No,
that's the thing. Like, she obviously she's not a street recruit, so she likes wrestling because she chose to do it and did the indie grind and everything. my whole thing is, why would you book her? What has she ever shown that would tell you this is someone that, you know, that we can do something with? So from that standpoint, you know, I've never been impressed with her at all.
No, never. Yeah. Same thought.
So, and then I guess that's it, right?
That's all. That's all the releases.
That's everybody. Now somebody. Oh, Sonya Deville was not a cut. We should note that her contract expired.
Okay.
So Sonya Deville her contract's up, and they weren't interested in re-signing her. The others, to my knowledge, are cuts and are on the 90-day. Sonya Deville can moonwalk into anywhere tomorrow. She can do the Ricky Starks. She is free and clear to go wherever she wants immediately because her contract expired. Now, the thing with Ricky Starks and Miro that we didn't bring up that we probably should, you know, it's possible that there's conditions to their release and things like that too, right? So because they got released early. So is it impossible that Tony wanted to retain the rights to the Ricky Starks name as part of the condition of the release? We didn't use that as one of our possibilities.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
But maybe it was like, all right, okay, fine, you want to go, but if you want to go early, here's what I want. Right? I mean,
that'd be tough to give up. That'd be hard to give up.
I wouldn't do it. I'd wait till June.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just wait till June. But, you know, something to consider, though, because if you're going to be released early, you would think that there would be some kind of negotiation in play there to grant an earlier release. Now, if you're Miro, I don't know why you'd want to be released. That guy's just been getting paid. When's the last time he was on?
God.
It was Collision when Punk was there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That the most recent time I remember, was a Punk Collision. Let me see if there's been one since. World's End randomly, 2023. Miro versus Andrade at World's End 2023. I don't remember that at all. Huh. All right.
No, remember they did the feud and it involved
oh God,
whatever.
CJ. Yeah, CJ Perry or whatever, getting involved.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
One of those early Collision feuds.
I mean, I have nothing. I mean, the Miro run, it's pretty amazing.
He's pretty good during the TNT title thing.
Yeah. 36 total matches his entire time in AEW.
Yeah. The TNT title stuff was good. You know, the introduction and being video game guy, that all sucked. The Kip Sabian stuff, that sucked.
And we were right. People should admit it, by the way. We were so right about that, and people argued.
Rich. Miro admitted it because he changed his gimmick to the Redeemer because he was redeeming himself. Mm-hmm. He admitted it. His gimmick was saying, my first gimmick sucked. And then the TNT title stuff was really good. And then after that, they'd bring him back for these fleeting sort of remember he was doing those pre-tapes where he was talking about the destiny of God and all this shit. It would never go anywhere though.
It never did. Yeah, you'd see him and a lot of times it would happen. It just never felt like it actually had any staying power.
No, it wouldn't lead to anything.
Yeah.
And then they did the Andrade feud, and then that was that. And it was just a really weird guy. Made a lot of money for doing very little. Is really what it comes down to. Because I'm sure it was a 7-figure deal. So
there you go. So those are releases. I got nothing else. Nothing else on the releases.
If any podcast networks want to bring me in for a 7-figure deal to do a podcast once every 4 months and cut pre-tapes talking about the destiny of God, I'm game.
You're in, yeah.
See you, Creech.
That's
7 figures, sir.
7? Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the releases. You want to do this? Let's do the Grand Slam preview. Instant Reaction Live coming up this Saturday, sometime after the dunk contest in the wee hours of Saturday night. So it turns out it's a 5-match show, the Grand Slam portion, and then 5 more matches for the AEW ROH Global Wars Australia is what they're calling this. So what we have here is a beefed up Collision, essentially, and a beefed up episode of ROH on Honor Club or whatever the fuck is basically what this is.
Yes.
These are both slightly enhanced versions of Collision and Honor Club ROH taking place in in the second biggest arena in Australia, a 13,000 seat building. We don't know how many tickets are sold or what it's set up for. What we do know is Tony Khan was talking about how it was shaping up to be the third biggest gate, international gate in company history. And I think Dave Meltzer tweeted today that it may end up being the third biggest gate period in the history of the company. I might have to double check that. That would mean it was a bigger gate than Greensboro for the Sting retirement, all the Forbidden Doors, and whatever else I might be forgetting. Obviously, the Grand Slams and Arthur Ashe. But at minimum, Tony Khan said on an Australian radio interview or podcast interview or something like that, that it was shaping up to be the third biggest international gate, obviously behind the two Wembley shows.
Sure.
Right. So that would mean it was going to top Forbidden Door in Toronto, all of the Canadian television shots that they did, which they probably did 3 or 4 at least. I know they were out in Calgary. They did Calgary at least twice, and however many other times they've been in Canada. They did a TV taping in the UK before one of the Wembleys, right? In Wales, I think.
Oh, that's so right. Yeah. I do remember that show.
So it would include that show. So, but then let me see if you can find that Meltzer tweet. Because he tweeted.
Yeah, I thought he just said that it was like the third highest, but I'll try to find it here real quick. It wasn't that far.
See, because Dave may have said third highest gate, period. Khan said third highest international gate. There's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we do know it's a sold show, and Khan even said that in his interview. He said the local promoters are very happy with the performance of the show and everything like that. So, but you still want to do big business because you're going to want those local promoters to buy a show from you again, right? That's the idea. Or at least have the confidence to run in Australia without doing a sold show.
All right, so here's the tweet with 2 days before showtime, the gate for AEW in Brisbane is now the third largest in the history of AEW, having topped Forbidden Door 2023 for the number 3 spot.
Okay, so there you go.
And then someone asked, however, isn't the cap of the arena only 13,000 or whatever? And he said, Gate is ticket revenue, not seats. It won't beat Grand Slam for seats sold. I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, the Grand Slam and Arthur Ashe. He's talking about that because someone said, but what about the? Okay, it was a dumb question. I'm sorry.
First Grand Slam. Grand Slam. Yeah, the first Grand Slam had what? 16,000. How many were in that? We could look that
20,000. That first Grand Slam.
20,000 for the first. Then it went down. It would go down every year. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
But obviously higher ticket sales, and that was a big point of contention with some of the Australian fans because they were paying stadium show pricing for a show that got moved indoors. So it's gonna have a monster gate. Looks like third highest in company history. Now it's a 13. The building holds like 13.6 according to Wikipedia. For if it's set up for concerts, okay, it has I think over 11,000 seats, but it can fit 13.6 for concerts. Now, if you factor in production kills, the stage, but also factor in that they can put seats on the floor because it's wrestling, which means it'd be similar to a concert. Look, they're going to have at least 10,000 people in that building.
Oh, for sure. No doubt about that.
How much higher is it going to go from there? Who knows? But they're going to have at least 10,000. And obviously the gate is enormous. Is it enough to make the local promoters happy? Is it enough to give Tony Khan confidence to go back? I don't know. We'll see. But it's funny because for all of and it's been an adventure, this show, from start to where we are now, an absolute adventure. It's going to end up being a massive success from a gate standpoint, which is crazy. It's like if it was never announced as a stadium show to begin with, the narrative around it would be a lot different than it is now. And we know they did a lot of 2-for-1s and buy one, get ones, but it's still producing the third biggest gate in the history of the company, which is pretty fucking wild when you think about it. So it's going to look good on TV on Saturday. They're going to be able to show the whole building. It's going to be packed. You would assume they're going to be hot because it's the first time most of these people are seeing AEW live. I think that the Mariah May Toni Storm match is going to be over like crazy. I think Harley Cameron's going to be over like crazy. I think the Omega Osprey tag with Fletcher is going to be over like I think it's going to be a hot show. As far as a live product, a live show, and a television product. So And I'm still looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to some middle of the night wrestling. This is like, there's a Georgetown game on Saturday, and then there's this. And that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend, this fucking show in the middle of the night.
Little Georgetown, little slam dunk contest. You get a Georgetown alum winning 3 in a row, and then, you get to Grand Slam Australia. No, it looks like a really good show on paper, and should be a really hot crowd, and it's one of those things we talk about a lot. AEW has a lot of wins and a lot of really good business. They do have these things that are really great. We had the Wembley show. And we have this, and we have these other great moments, and these big matches, and these big shows, and these all these sort of things. But they're just they sometimes always they just seem like they always find a way to make it something overshadows it, or they don't pounce on it, or they just don't tell the story of it right, or whatever. The first Wembley, of course, you end up with a lot of the Punk stuff, so that kind of puts a damper on it, and it's just they always. And then this show, it's because it took such a weird path to get here that ultimately having, the third highest gate with, 10,000 plus people in Australia, going nuts for a pretty decent looking show on paper is going to be seen, by some people as like, oh God, that's like, all this struggle to get here. And this is where you got to, where if they didn't, kind of step on so many rakes on the way here, you would just say, hey, they went to Australia and they drew the third biggest gate in their company history for a show that presumably should do decent enough ratings. If that lead-in is strong enough.
Yeah, I think with the rating, and there's going to be obviously a lot of discourse around it like there always is, I don't think the second hour of it's going to be relevant. Because I really don't. People
we'll be past midnight. We'll be past midnight at that point.
Yeah, it's just nothing does a rating on TV at that hour. Nothing. Even Saturday Night Live, and we've talked about it a million times, they front load that show because they know nobody's watching after Weekend Update. People turn it off and go to bed. So, and that's probably the best drawing show for the middle of the night in the history of television, right? I mean, so it's like, and even they know that they can't draw for the back end of that show. So, we'll see. It's going to be a really funky rating. It's going to be artificially high at the start, artificially low at the end. So, who the fuck knows how that's going to all average out. But, look, I think that the Mariah May Toni Storm match is going to be over like crazy in the building. And same for, this Harley Cameron thing. She is hot right now, and she's popping quarter hours. And it's funny because she has inadvertently become a tool in the culture war. Okay? She's a pawn in this culture war in a lot of the same ways that TNA is, where a lot of the bought and paid for pundits or grifting pundits, they sort of use TNA as a tool to beat AEW over the head with all the, TNA could be number 2, watch out for TNA, TNA is so great. Meanwhile, none of them watch TNA. None of them give a fuck about TNA. And it's just, by propping up TNA, it's it's just another passive-aggressive way to bash AEW, right? And Harley Cameron has become sort of that same thing. Rich, I'm going to read you a tweet from Raj Giri. You ready for this one, Rich Craich?
No.
And
I said no. I said no, I'm not. So don't.
You're getting it anyway.
I said no.
Too bad. It
right.
mirrors things that I've also seen from Dave LaGreca. It mirrors things that I've seen from Bully Ray. And we all know we're busted open stands now. Busted open, the mask is off.
Oh, they're bought and sold. They're
Bully Ray literally works for WWE.
Right, he's on their new show. He's on their fucking new show.
The Tough Enough thing.
LFG, Joe.
Yeah. And they do the pre-shows, and they've just completely, But anyway, they had similar thoughts to this. Here's the tweet from Raj Giri. Quote, "You've got to strike when the iron is hot. Harley Cameron should win the title this weekend. She's a perfect example of how character and charisma trumps all when it comes to being a star." End quote. So what I want to focus on is the second half of his tweet. Okay? I think a lot of people would agree that maybe you got to strike while the iron is hot and put the title on her.
I have a good thought about that. If you want to discuss it a little bit later, I have an interesting thought about it. But continue with this.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's get through this. So it's the second part I want to focus on, where he says she's a perfect example of how character and charisma trumps all when it comes to being a star. Okay? This is no different than what I described earlier and how these same sorts of people talk about TNA. The second part of that tweet is nothing more than a passive-aggressive criticism of AEW wrapped in fake AEW praise. Okay? What he's really doing is taking a shot at the idea that he's flat out saying that the pro wrestling business is all about character. Like, we know that the formula for being a star is having charisma. He's not teaching anybody anything. These guys love to point at their brain and pretend they're saying something smart when they say that you got to have a good character and good charisma to be a star. We all know that. We all already know that. And what they like to do is pretend that the made-up version of Dave Meltzer that they all have created disagrees with that. Right? But he doesn't. Dave Meltzer knows that. Dave Meltzer's been telling people that for 40 years. People who understand, everyone who understands pro wrestling understands that. But what he's doing is taking a passive-aggressive shot at AEW when he's saying that she's the perfect example of things that work right, because she's not someone who goes out and has great matches. She's not someone who's going to go out and have, a Dave Meltzer 5-star match. It's a WWE style push. It's no different than the Yeet guy, right? It's no different than who's Cardona's wife?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green. So this is Harley being basically used as a pawn in this culture war. It's shrouded in praising AEW, but it's really passive-aggressive critique of AEW. Because it's saying, see, you guys found something, but you found something in the good way, in the right way, in the acceptable way.
The way that you create a superstar is by having charisma and music and all this sort of stuff besides.
Yeah.
Not Will Ospreay and his moves with 8 Z's and the Young Bucks and all that stuff. Yeah.
And Dave LaGreca tweeted something a few days earlier, which was in the same way. He goes, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, if you need a reason to watch AEW, it's Harley Cameron, with a bunch of exclamation points. And it's the same thing. He's not really praising Harley Cameron. It's passive-aggressive knocking of AEW is what it is. And that's what Geary is doing here, too. So it's unfortunate, but she's in the same boat as TNA. She's being used. The idea of Harley Cameron is the same idea of TNA. It's a passive-aggressive way to slag off on AEW. That's the game that these guys play. They don't care about Harley Cameron. They just see something getting over in AEW that is the same style of something that would get over in WWE. So they use it to their advantage in this weird wrestling culture war that we're in. That's what this is. So it's just interesting because they're all doing it. They've all talked about Harley Cameron. Both guys from Busted Open. I saw Bischoff doing it. And then I saw Raj Geary tweet that earlier.
It's playbook. Yeah, it's a playbook thing. You can tell.
It's the play. It's exactly it. It's and they all think they're geniuses who crack the code when they say, "Oh, you need charisma to be a star." Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
Who do you think you're teaching, or who do you think you're?
The simpletons that listen to them. They go, "Yeah, that's right."
Yeah, not those Dave Meltzer 5-star matches. Like Dave Meltzer would be the first person to tell you that. You stupid idiot. But yeah, so look, Harley, the thing about it is Tony has to push anybody who's getting over at this point. He has to, because he needs to find things that are over to kind of reverse this negative trend in the consumer metrics and television ratings and the attendance, the rank and file weekly attendance and the TV ratings that have kind of stagnated, to be honest. They've kind of stopped going down. We're kind of at a stagnation now. And I don't know if that's because AEW has finally hit the floor of the people who aren't going anywhere no matter what, or if it's because there's enough interesting things going on in the company, whether it's Hurt Syndicate or Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega versus the Callis family, or Swerve and Ricochet, or Harley Cameron. And maybe it's just a combination of a bunch of things that are starting to connect with people to where they're not losing ticket buyers anymore. They're not losing and it's just holding. because they're not growing. They're still not growing.
Right.
It hasn't started moving in the other direction, but we've kind of hit off. Like the rating is the same every week. Collision's funky because it has different competition, usually from WWE. The Dynamite rating is the same every week. Last week it was a 0.17. This week it's a 0.16. Next week it'll be a 0.17 again. It's the same every week. The attendance basically in these smaller and mid-sized buildings is around the same, every week. And year over year, it's starting to look like it's close to the same. So the question is, if these acts that appear to be over, Harley Cameron being one of them, is there enough to start reversing things? And, from a business standpoint. And that's the question. And the other big question is Revolution with the Death Riders, with Mox and Cope on top, which is without question, safe to say, not a critically acclaimed angle, Rich Grace.
No.
And not a critically acclaimed match. So we'll see. We'll see when the rubber meets the road. Is that going to be a bad pay-per-view from that standpoint, from buys, or is it just noise? And is the pay-per-view going to do the same number it always does? Because pay-per-view is one area where they haven't really dropped. Okay? I don't like the Death Riders. I think it stinks. I think the faster we get away from it, the better. But I do think we've gotten a little overboard in critiquing it. I don't think it's like the world's worst wrestling angle that needs to be aborted immediately. People are going a little too crazy with it. To me, it's just a underwhelming, below average, rank and file pro wrestling angle.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sucks shit. I think it's fucking horrible, but
I don't like it either.
Yeah, and I think Adam Copeland's a fucking embarrassment on your television show, but
you hate some Cope. You hate you some Cope.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
well,
but I think
I'll be waiting. I'm still waiting to be proven wrong about Cope, but yeah, well, he can go.
Proven wrong for a little while. You're proven wrong for a little while.
Yeah, sure.
And you kind of started to say, maybe. But now this thing, no one likes it.
The fucking
no.
Nail bats and the briefcase. Like, what are we doing here? What is happening?
But at the end of the day, business is kind of just stagnant. It's not really hurting anything. It's not helping anything. Everything is kind of leveled off. So we'll see what the pay-per-view does. That's what always talks and everything else walks. We know that. But the faster we get to Darby just beating Mox so we could all move on, I think the better off everyone will be, because then you can start moving Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega or, Swerve, whoever you pick to get back into the top mix.
Right. Paige and MJF are going to be obviously at Revolution, and that hopefully will lead to somebody moving, one of those guys. You're probably not ready to do the MJF thing again, but maybe you want to do the Paige thing again. I mean, there's so many other guys that could be in these. Yeah, they have a lot of dudes that feel like they're just about ready to be in main event slots, and yeah, unfortunately the Death Riders thing, similar to how the AEW women's title. It seems like be an issue in AEW right now, where these people hold these titles and it feels like they're holding them hostage, and they're all in their own little universes, and everybody's got to kind of dance around that one universe. And that's, I don't know. It just doesn't feel very healthy. Like the Mariah May, Toni Storm thing is that way, where it's like nobody else can get into the women's world title. It has to be Mariah May or it has to be Toni Storm. And the Mox thing feels the same way. It's like you don't want to invoke a lot of those other guys. You don't want to get those other guys involved because you don't want it to, you don't have to make a tough decision about having to beat, Will Ospreay. You're not going to have, Jon Moxley beat Will Ospreay. So Will Ospreay has to kind of do his own little thing. And that's a thing that I think AEW has struggled with a little bit, is trying to figure out interesting things. Now, I will give them credit. I think this week on Dynamite, they did a good job of MJF and Adam Page doing their little thing is great. That'll get them out of the title picture, but it's a big time match that you can promote. I think the Kenny and Will stuff has been pretty good so far. They've gotten better at it, but it does still definitely feel like the Mox thing has like quite literally like a lock on that world title, and it's like nobody else can get involved in that universe right now because they have to tell their story of whatever they're going to tell, and it doesn't feel organic, like people moving up the ladder and okay, I'm now, it'd be nice to have rankings or something like that, but you win a bunch of matches and it's like, well, now I get a title shot. You know what I mean? It's like that's not how titles are determined in this company anymore. It's just, we're going to tell a story with this title, and nothing's going to change that. Nothing's going to move it. And then eventually when we're done telling that story with the title, okay, now the next person coming. But it feels like they have like a vice on those titles, and it hurts a lot of the other people, I think,
Yeah, and I think the biggest star they're willing to beat with Mox is Cope. Because why am I calling him Cope? Why?
No, because it's a joke. So you should call him the Rated R Superstar Cope, because it's absolutely absurd that we have to call him Cope. So no, call him Cope every single time, because that's what that dork wants you to call him.
But I hate that I'm saying it, Cope. Why am I going along with that? So
because it's an embarrassment. Because it's not I'm fine doing that because it's so embarrassing that I'm glad I do it as a way to put him down even further. That he wants me to call him Cope.
You hate you some Adam Cole. You hate you some Adam Cole.
Well, really he can prove me wrong one of these days ever. So one time this guy drew a rating just because his girlfriend was fucking naked on television. That's it. One time ever.
Yeah, so he's the biggest star they seem to be willing to beat with Mox. Because as you said, they're intentionally keeping all these other people out of that like vortex, right? Ospreay, Swerve, MJF, Hangman. Because we all think that the end game is Darby. So he'd have to beat those people if he ends up in a program.
Yeah. And they don't want to do that. They don't like the story that much to beat these other guys, which is an interesting aspect of it.
Right. They don't want to have so he beat who? Orange Cassidy, right? And that should have raised all our eyebrows because it's like Orange Cassidy, right? But it's like because they don't want to have the other potential top money drawing top people in there with him because he'd have to win. And then, you don't want to beat them. So, Cope was almost perfect for the spot from that standpoint to be put in a program with the guy because it keeps all these other people out of it. The question is, does Darby come back after this or do we have to find another placeholder to kill some more time with? And then, who would that be? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But Jay White, I guess, right? Which he's totally miscast. I mean...
as Cope's buddy, Cope's young buddy,
baby face, right? It's just so weird. It's such a miscasting of Jay White. Anyway, so what's your theory with this Harley Cameron that you teased us with?
So I've seen it's been a big point of contention. People have been talking about it a lot. I know our Discord is blowing up about it, where people are saying that you got to strike while the iron's hot and give Harley Cameron the title. And I think there's something to be said for that. I think there is something there. And I know that you don't necessarily Mercedes has done such a great job with that TBS title and establishing it as a great title and having this great title reign that I see the people saying you're going to have her lose to Harley Cameron by and by the way, I'd have her win by some banana peel thing or whatever, some roll up or something like that. But I see the people's point of you're going to build
who would you have win by banana peel? Which one?
Harley.
Oh, you'd have Harley win.
No,
okay.
But here, what I'm saying though is that if Harley wins, she's not going to dominate the match and beat Mercedes, with a move. It's going to be like a roll up or something like that. That's going to have to happen. So I see people saying that what do you do? You've built up this title, you built up money for all this time with this TBS title, and she's just going to lose to Harley Cameron via a roll up. That's ridiculous. No, that's not the good way to do it. But what I'm thinking of is, I think that's the perfect time to do it. Mercedes has established herself. She's gotten herself back on track. She's, gotten, there was a little bit of a rough patch at the beginning, but she's had a string of really, really good matches. She feels, they miscast her as a smiley babyface for a while. They've kind of figured out a good little edge with her and stuff. I think she's kind of done all you can do with this TBS title. So my thought is, instead of looking at, God, that's a terrible way to end the TBS title reign, I'm not necessarily worried about the TBS title anymore. I'm worried about the main women's title that you have in your company, which after Grand Slam Australia is going to be on Toni Storm. And I think now is finally a very good time to get somebody else into that universe. And I think it's absolutely absurd that the company in kayfabe that Mercedes has the secondary title. She's the best woman in the company. She's the best women's wrestler in the company. She never loses. All these things and then she's fighting for the secondary women's title while the other one is doing a bunch of grab ass bullshit with the main women's title. I think it's due time that she loses up. And that's why I think that this is a perfect opportunity to put the title onto Harley Cameron, who's absolutely going to be a transitional champion. Absolutely. Harley Cameron does not hold this title for 3 months. You know what I mean? She barely, if it was up to me, I don't know if she survives February as the champion. I would probably find a way to move it off of her really quickly. But I think what you do is you've gotten all you could get out of Monet as the TBS champion. She loses and she moves up into a main event, AEW Women's World Title. A program, whether it's with Toni Storm or whatever it may be, but that, that's where she's got to go. I think. I think it comes across more and more absurd every single day that she is the secondary women's champion and not involved in the title. Like we said, it's like when they're not involved in the top title thing. It's like, why is this person that wins all the time and is great, fighting for this smaller title? So that's where my thought is, and I think that having Harley win in Australia, is it a quote unquote moment? Are you doing it because it's a moment? Yeah, but I don't see it as the way the other people see it. It's like you're freaking out, or you're doing this like quick booking thing where you're like, oh, we got to give it to Harley, we got to rush it off to Harley. I see it more as an accomplishment that Mercedes has gotten that title to that point, and now she's gotten herself to this point where she's outgrown this title, and she needs to get into that main world title picture, the main women's world title picture. So that's what I would do. And now if you want to just have Mercedes beat Harley, I'm fine with that too. I have no issue with that, but I think they may have pounced. They may have gotten into a situation here where it might just work to move that title to Harley as a transitional champion and move Monet up to a feud with Toni Storm or something. And hell, Toni Storm, Mercedes at All In, you can absolutely see a match like that at All In Texas, right? Tony versus Monet, that'll draw. That'll get some. And the characters work right now too. So that would be my thought is if you need a way to get Mercedes out of the TBS title picture and into something bigger, this is a perfect opportunity that you have.
Well, Tony loves to do the hometown stuff. He always has loved to do the hometown stuff. So he's someone who will give guys or girls wins in the hometowns. Look at this fucking card. Harley Cameron, Jay White from, a hop, skip, and a jump away. Tony Storm and Kyle Fletcher. He put anyone who's from within fucking 1,000 miles of the region onto the show. Buddy Matthews, right? So, yeah, look, I could totally see Harley and Toni Storm winning and then it playing out your way. Where you just have to figure out a way for Harley and Mercedes to split to end their program without Mercedes coming to get her title back. You'd have to figure that out. But, look, Harley Cameron obviously has star upside. I've been saying it for months. She's not my cup of tea. I could do without the puppets. But the thing is, forget what I want. She's over. It's undeniable. And they need to push people who are over. So I can't kill them if she beats Mercedes here. I think it'll get an enormous pop. I think what she's doing is working and it is striking while the iron's hot. I agree with the Raj Giri tweet from that standpoint. And I agree with you. I could totally, it might be time to elevate Mercedes. Now that this Mariah May Toni Storm thing appears to maybe finally be over.
God, please, mercifully, end this thing.
If Toni beats her, Mariah needs to just disappear for a while. And that would fit the way AEW does things anyway. Mariah's been a constant presence on TV since that angle started. She could, she probably deserves some time off at this point.
For sure.
So, that all makes sense. All right, let's talk about some of the other matches real quick because we do have other topics to get to. Maybe we'll push MLW off of this. What do we got? MLW, because I'd rather talk about Kenta. Let's push off MLW and let's push off the Champion Carnival. We got plenty of time to get to Champion Carnival too.
Okay, we could legit do the MLW thing in like a minute. That show was nothing.
All right, well let's get through this and then see where we're at. So, we talked about it a little bit already, but the Brisbane Brawl is basically just a setup, to heat up Cope versus Mox. So Cope and Jay White versus Claudio and Mox. Look, what's funny about this storyline is I don't see anyone defending it. Even the most hardcore freakazoids.
Yeah, nobody does.
No one has a dissenting opinion on this. Like, people either think it's the worst fucking thing they've ever seen, which I think is way too far. Or they just don't care for it, which is where I'm at. I just don't care for it. It doesn't offend me. I'm not like bothered by it. But anyway, I hope, there's going to be some kind of no DQ deal where they brawl around the building, and I'm just hoping for a good match. I'm not invested in any of this, obviously. Do you have anything else to add? We kind of talked.
No, I got nothing. Yeah, nothing else on that.
So Okada versus Buddy, I don't know if you saw the sit down they had on Collision or not, but we kind of got serious little Kazoo by the end of that thing. So the thing is, they had a match when Buddy first left WWE on a New Japan Strong show, and it wasn't that good. It was a disappointing match by Kazuchika Okada standards. And you know what it was? It was a Kazuchika Okada AEW TV match. That's what they had in New Japan Strong. So I know these guys can have a great match. The question is, will they? I don't think Buddy's going to win the title. So from that standpoint, the match has hurt a little bit, but I don't know. Stick your neck out. You think they're going to have a great match?
No. No, I don't.
Get there. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think it'll get there. But I don't know. I mean, Buddy's reinvigorated by the lack of the weight on his shoulders. The millstone is gone for him, which is certainly helpful. But yeah, it's going to really rely on Okada, and I don't know. I think these guys are capable of it, but I don't know. Given Okada's output, I wouldn't bet on it. I think Okada has great matches with the best of the best, but I don't know that he's got matches. You know, I think he might see this as just a TV taping and just go out there and just kind of do basic stuff. So I'll be more than willing to be surprised, but I would bet that no, it will not be great.
All right, and then Omega and Ospreay versus Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. I'd be stunned if this isn't great. There's too many guys in there who pride themselves on having great matches. Plus,
that match is gonna be great.
Plus, the feud has been good. I mean, they've really turned the Don Callis family around. I don't know if turn it around. What they've done with the Don Callis family is just giving it more consistency.
They feel like a real unit that has real because they used to just kind of come and go, and it felt like it was just a thing. You know, it kind of was there, but now it really, really has legs, and it really feels like it's been established and like you said, yeah, consistent. It's a consistent thing now.
Yeah, it feels like a cohesive unit that's on TV every week and has a purpose and, you know, and motivations and everything. So it's working. That feud is working. Is the Global Wars Australia ROH side of the card enough to get you to tune into your Honor Club next Thursday?
Nah, I don't think so.
Don't think so?
I don't think so, no. You?
I think Lee Moriarty, Robbie Eagles can be really good.
That sounds great. That is the one match I might, if I hear good things, I might check out. The other ones, I don't know. The other ones I'll wait and see.
Now it is Pure Rules.
I like Pure Rules. It doesn't bother me.
Sometimes it could handicap though. But yeah, to me that looks like on paper like the third best match on the show overall, right? Like so I'm looking forward to that. I noticed they have Alex Windsor coming in to face Athena. I think the Ospreay family taking a little mini vacation here. Is that what's happening?
A little vacate Australia. Good for them. Yeah,
throw the kid on a plane. Get Windsor out there.
A little paid vacay to
the old working vacation.
Yeah,
right? The old working. This is what they used to do in the Hawaii
Put that
territory.
on the company card. Put that on the travel card, the points card. Get some points on your flights too. Yeah,
that's what. On the way to Japan tours, guys would stop off and work a show in the Hawaii territory and then hang out for a couple days. Yeah, take a little working vacation on the way to Japan.
No rush to get back to Central States. We don't have to rush to get back to Missouri or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. The reverse way too, like coming back from Japan. You know, yeah, exactly. So that's kind of you get the feel that's what this is. You know, so she's in town anyway. If that's the case, put her on the show. Let her be Athena's next victim. Why not? So then we got tag title match, Dustin and Sammy versus MXM, and then Bandito and the Outrunners versus the Learning Tree. So, like I said, a beefed up version of the Honor Club show.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And what really amounts to a beefed up collision. You know?
A beefed up collision with two highlighted single, well, yeah, I guess two highlighted singles matches and then a couple more stars involved. So yeah, basically a beefed up collision.
Yeah, like it's a beefed up AEW TV show is what it is. You know, those 5 matches could be the meat of a pay-per-view though, right? Like if you added 3 more.
Yeah, you'd have you'd need a couple more singles matches, a little more stakes in there. But yeah, it's not that far off.
Could that be the top end of a pay-per-view, those 5 matches? Not a strong pay-per-view.
No, not the top end. Not the top end.
Like if you put Big Bill versus Will Hobbs and move the Learning Tree match to this portion of the show, and then add in what's another TV program right now?
No, you need a big time singles match. I don't think either of these. I don't think you can main event with these singles matches.
It's missing one more huge singles match to be pay-per-view quality. Yeah. So it's a beefed up TV show then.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And we will do the instant reaction live immediately following the show this Saturday.
Yep.
Very quickly. So they did a press conference. Kenta has signed with Pro Wrestling Noah, so he's done with New Japan. I don't know if he's still living in Florida, so I don't know what this means for the U.S. Indies, but he did lose the Defy title.
He did, yeah, I was going to say, I do wonder if maybe losing that Defy title, but he did say that he wanted the MLW World title, though, on the MLW SuperFight show. He said, I want the world title. But yeah, I think it is interesting that he did lose that Defy title, though. He lost it to Ricky Starks, too, which is going to be maybe a bit of a problem. But, we'll figure that out when you get there. But
they're more open with the Indies now. Maybe they let him go back and drop. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's not dropping it to Swerve. That's not happening. But he's trying. He'll be dropping it to somebody. But yeah, or just vacating it. We'll see. But Kenta signs with Noah. Look, I think this is the perfect move at the perfect time for him. And if you trace the steps of his career, he's pretty savvy with this stuff. I thought he left Noah at precisely the right time when he went to WWE. Noah was at the bottom depths that they're ever going to be in at that time when he left. There was no more money to be made there. It was now or never for him to give it a go in WWE, and that was the perfect move. When WWE let him go, a lot of people said, oh, he's going to go back to Noah. And I said, no. The play here is to go to New Japan. No, there's still no money to be made in Noah. He's never been in
they were still in a bad way. They were still in a pretty bad way at that time.
Yep, they absolutely were. And there was no money to be made there. He had never been in New Japan. There was a spot for him there. It'd be something different and unique. And he went to New Japan. And he spent a number of years there. And now was the time to leave New Japan. There's nothing left. We just talked about how the Bullet Club has dissolved and fallen apart. Basically, anytime he's been on New Japan tours, it's been teaming with Chase Owens. It's done. It's over. That New Japan run is finished. And Noah is on an upswing. They filled up Korakuen again. Over 1,500 fans, super no vacancy, full house for Ozawa's title defense against Galeno. They filled it up, last time. Kenta worked this Korakuen show. And Noah is on much more stable ground now. They obviously have the parent company, which is a massive company in Japan. It's got money backing. They're doing good business. They have a hot new young world champion who looks like they've made a star. This is like the perfect time to wrap it up with New Japan and go back to Noah. So it just seems like he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders from a business sense of when to leave these places and where to go next. And it's funny because we talked about his match against Kano on whatever Noah show that was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, the New Year.
Yeah, the New Year's show, and how we were like, whoa, that's like vintage Kenta.
Yeah, where's that Kenta been? Yeah, that Kenta hasn't been around in a long time.
Yeah, he may not have the same athleticism and explosion and burst, but the look in his eyes, like he wrestled the match like Kenta would have in 2011 in Noah or something, And it's like on this show too, he wrestles the tag teaming with Kano against Kaito Kiyomiya and Taniguchi. Did you see any of the show or no?
I saw none of the show, so yeah, you're gonna have to carry this, unfortunately.
So again, he had that look in his eye, and my God, he was good in this match. And again, you're never getting 2006 Kenta ever again. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. He's great in ways that he can be great now. Okay? And he wasn't that in New Japan. In New Japan, he's mucking it up with the Bullet Club stuff. You get the sense he wasn't taking it all that seriously. Right? On the American Indies, I think he's been pretty good in MLW.
I've said the last year and a half or so of Kenta has been really good. In the last year in particular, he's been good on the Indies. He was good in TNA. He was good just about everywhere. I mean, he wasn't 2006 Kenta, but he was good. He had figured out whatever the new chapter of his career was going to be. So
yeah, and he's been pretty good in MLW. Like he's not this Noah version. It's like when he's had these 2 matches in Noah now. And you just get the sense he's taking this seriously. And he's in a place that he believes in. He's back home. And he can't be the guy he used to be, but he is absolutely the best version of who he can be now. And he rocked in this match. and he hit Taniguchi with that go to sleep. And man, you forget these old school Noah guys know how to take that fucking move, man. They don't land on their feet and then take a back bump. These aren't the CM Punk go to sleeps, in WWE. These are, and God, I can't explain it other than he just has that look in his eye again. And he's got the perfect entry. He's using his old Noah entrance music, the perfect way. He had a bunch of great entrances.
Oh, he did, yeah.
But he's using that I don't know, the one he's using is perfect for this version of him. It's that techno song that's like the dun dun, and then it picks up later. Like, he just feels like himself again, and this is the right move to sign back with them. There's so many interesting things they can do with him, and right now he's teaming with Kano, and they planted seeds for him to do something with Kiyomiya in this tag match, and Marufuji announced the signing, and this is the perfect place for him to be right now. So, it's the right move. For people who might think, oh, why would you leave New Japan? I don't know. I think this is the right move.
Well, you also leave New Japan because you're going to be slotted behind all the young guys. You're going to be slotted behind your Naitos and all these other guys. He's going to go to Noah and be at worst, the fifth most important guy, fourth and fifth most important guy. And it's just, it's time is probably the best way to describe it. It just feels like it's time for him. The last chapter of his career should be a Noah. You know what I mean? It should be him, playing out the strings of Noah. And like we talked about a couple weeks, we talked about after that New Year's show, he's in there with, he's going to have a bunch of matches with guys he's never faced before. Here he is in the ring with Shohei Taniguchi or whatever, and Kano and guys that he should, but he's also in the ring there with Kaito Kiyomiya. He's never, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole new chapter of his career and a whole new group of guys that he can have matches with. So
the Kano match we just saw, there's so many. I'm telling you, if you go watch this match, it was the same look in his eye and the same level of work that he had in that match.
Yeah, I'm excited.
He's
I
back,
will watch
man.
this.
It's like that grumpy, fucking mean mugging Kenta that never seemed happy. Like, he's back. Remember when he went to WWE and did the whole Hideo Itami thing? And one of the comments I made was, I never saw him smile until now. He went to WWE and all of a sudden he was smiling. I'm like, that's not Kenta. Like, he lost part of who he was as Hideo Itami. He was trying to be this new thing. In New Japan, he was always hamming it up. Like, did you see him in the Rambo, like, power walking down to the ring?
Yeah. He just thought it was a big old laugh. It was just a big old laugh. Like, jolly.
Yeah, at that point, he knew he was leaving. I get it. But his whole New Japan run outside of the very beginnings of it and the angle with Shibata was just a bunch of fucking horse shit. And he knew it. He was making money. And it just feels like his mind and his heart is in it. And this is 2 matches in a row now. And he signed a fucking contract. And this is Kenta. And this is the Green Ring. I'm fired up for this, Rich Craich. I think this is going to be a really good run. And I love the early returns. We should note one other signing. You may have even missed this one. Wagner 3.
I talked about it on Flagship
AAA.
Plus. Flagship Plus, Joe. Come on. You got to listen to Flagship Plus. I talked about it. I
must have missed that segment.
Yeah.
What the fuck? This guy leaves Noah
to go to AAA.
And he goes there?
Yeah.
Of all places?
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully the money's good. I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it's good money. Back home. Like, I get it. But
it's still disappointing. But anyway, his brother, the larger adult son of Dr. Wagner Jr., Galano, he's just Galano now. No more Galano.
Yeah, he's not Del Mal. He's not Del Mal anymore. No.
So just Galino, and he has. Look, it was a Team 2000K X whatever match. It had some bullshit towards the end. Ref getting pulled out of the ring during the count. It's like I talked about a few weeks ago. The clock's ticking on how long this will be novel until people get tired of it. You know what I mean? So I can guarantee I'm going to get tired of it before anyone else.
Right. You'll be ahead of it by 2 months before everybody else says that it sucks. You'll say it sucks, but
I'm not quite tired of it yet. But when I get there, that's the warning sign that everyone else is going to follow shortly after. But it was much of what we've seen. They're still establishing the gimmick and everything, but eventually they're going to have to add new wrinkles to this, and it's got to stop being Bullet Club at some point, you would think. But then again, how long did Bullet Club last? So
still going?
I don't.
Chase Owens.
Yeah, that's right. It's still on. It's still breathing. So, and the rest of the show was the opening of the Noah Junior Tag League. There were no matches that I can tell people that they have to go see. Manabu Soya did win the GHC national title back from Tetsuya Endo. Man, did I love that match. Not because it was a great match or anything, but because I was wrapped up in the story and the emotion of it. Soya felt he got cheated out of the title, and he just came into that match like a fucking bat out of hell. He just went for, right after this little fucking shit, Endo, and wanted to tear him apart. And it was an emotional title win as he won his title back from this little prick who fucking turned heel and joined Team 2000X and everything. So,
well, good, because I saw this rumor online. It must have been false that Manabu Soya joined Rattel's. No, sure, what? He did. Manabu Soya is part of Rattel's now.
When did that happen?
Looks like February 10th, it says.
Rattel's?
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. No, it doesn't. But people must enter and leave Rattel's at all times, so.
They had stopped doing that shit for a while.
They did, but.
No
Sawa's gonna know Sawa. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't 100% confirm
This show was after the 10th.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Did I just not fucking notice this when I was watching this?
Maybe
match?
not.
Now,
yeah,
to
maybe
be fair,
not.
Now, to be fair, when I'm watching these shows, I bell rings. I fast forward to the bell ringing to the start of the. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It looks like after it says the group helped Soya after Team 2000X's 3-on-1 attack on Tuesday. So I don't know what date this Noah show was, but on Tuesday they attacked and Rattel's came to help him out. So,
well, I didn't know he was part of the group.
Yeah,
but
yeah, this is official from the Noah Global. It says official. GHC national champion Manabu Soya is now part of Rattel's.
All right, well, I missed that little detail. But yeah, Team 2000X, they're just at war with everybody. Whether it's Kiyomiya and all his boys, whether it's fucking Rattel's. So, that's kind of deal. But yeah, that was the Noah show. Another overflow. Super no vacancy, full house, and now Kenta is fully in the mix. So we are over time, and it is your call, sir, if we do some more of these topics.
Let's do literally 2 minutes of MLW SuperFight. It was MLW, man. I don't know. It's about how much Bischoff are we going to get? Because I can't do much more Bischoff. I've had enough Bischoff. I
think you're going to get a lot of Bischoff because they did the whole deal where Cesar Duran snuck into the office to steal the confidential papers.
Yeah.
From Eric
Which Bischoff said we would find out about it. At the beginning of the show, he said, I know you're all asking what's in the paper, what's in the folder, and nobody popped at all. Because nobody, like,
no one knows what he's talking about.
What are you talking about? Yeah. And then he said, well, you're going to find out tonight what's in the folder. And then Dario Cueto / Cesar Duran stole the folder when Eric Bischoff was getting the potheads, Tom Lawler and Matt Riddle, out of his office. This is all true. Nothing I'm saying is lying.
Yeah, so Matt Riddle and Tom Lawler were eating pizza with marijuana-laced cupcakes as the topping. Am I getting that right?
They were eating multiple pizzas, but one of them had cupcakes on top of it, yes. And Riddle was like, bro, you got to try this one, man. It's going to change your life. And that didn't happen. Eric's like, get out.
Yeah, the implication was that the cupcakes were laced.
Well, there was also smoke
lettuce
in the room, too. So it appeared that there was multiple methods of delivery here for one, Tom Lawler and Matt Riddle. Because there was smoke all in the room, too. Because Eric's walking down the hallway going,
yeah. And then there was a hilarious gag later where the camera cut to Bischoff and he was about to bite into the cupcake pizza after telling them that he didn't want any.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit.
Eric,
it was a bit.
It's a funny bit. Eric likes to get stoned too. You see.
Yeah. What a bit.
Do people still say stoned, or is that
stoned?
From
I don't think. I wonder if kids. I don't think kids say stoned
kids
anymore.
Aren't saying stoned.
I don't think
no?
so. I think that's an old.
What are they saying? They get.
You're asking the wrong guy. Yeah.
What's the vernacular for getting high? Getting high. That's just that's timeless. Right?
I think that's
that's
timeless. Yeah.
But no one says stoned anymore.
I don't think so. I feel like that's a term of the past. For sure.
What is getting lit? Is that lit? High or is that drunk?
That could be anything. I think that could be both. I think it could be both, technically. Yeah.
Okay. What is being on one? That's like doing like psychedelics and pills, right? If you're on one.
Know. Is it?
Right?
I just thought it was like, I don't know, you're being an asshole or something, or you're in a mood. You're in a mood, but
that's how people use it now. But the origins is, oh man, Stacy's on one. I think it started with
mushrooms or something like that, or acid or something like that. Okay.
So now, if like someone at work is being an asshole, you're like, oh fuck, Jack is really on one. But it's like you're not saying he's on drugs. You're just saying he's being a fucking jerk off. You know. So yeah, no, I don't think people say stoned. I don't even know why I said stoned. To be honest, I don't think I've ever said that in my life. I don't know why I said that. You ever say something and you don't know why you said it?
No, yeah, all the time. Yeah.
All the time. Oh, all the time. All the time. You constantly say things. You're like, I don't know why I said that.
Right. This show sucked. MLW SuperFight 6. I
thought it got off to a good start.
Well, yeah, because the luchadors. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And then the rest of the show stunk. You know, Kenta and Kevin Knight was good.
Yeah, and then after that, it was all downhill.
Yeah. So real quickly. So the show starts out with Eric Bischoff. You know, Eric Bischoff's doing the one-shot thing. They have this thing where he comes out and he's a babyface, but then at some point in the promo, this is every time he appears in MLW, he comes out and he goes, I'm Eric Bischoff and I ran WCW in 83 weeks. Everyone goes, yeah. And he's always like getting big pops and good crowd reactions and playing to the crowd. And then at some point in his promo, he switches and then he becomes a heel because he's technically supposed to be an asshole to like Alex Kane, who's a babyface. So then Alex Kane comes out and they jaw jack back and forth. The whole impetus of this entire thing was at one point during the promo, Eric Bischoff declares, so at a private banquet yesterday, I was named the Ted Turner, Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award or something like that. The fuck are you talking? What is that award? Okay. I also liked how he said
the 700 solid at
sold out again. Another year.
Which actually, let's be fair, they did though.
They did sell this out. Yeah.
WrestleTix said they sold it out. The 700 solid chanted, "You deserve it," so they all know what that award is. Apparently,
they're all well aware of the Ted Turner Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award or whatever. One thing I loved about this is he goes, "It's good to be back here in center stage," and I'm like, "Brother, you left center stage to go to Disney. Like you couldn't wait to get out of center stage."
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like WWE was in center stage for years, and you're like, "We got to get the fuck out of here and go to Disney. Fuck this place." But anyway. So he's, I'm the Memorial Ted Turner Award winner or whatever. So Alex Kane comes out, they jaw jack back and forth, and he challenges Alex Kane to a fight and says, I'm a black belt. And Alex Kane's like, cool, I don't give a fuck, which was pretty good. But and now at this point, everyone's cheering for Alex Kane and booing Eric Bischoff. So it's a very weird dichotomy from what the promo was before that. And it all ends up with Alex Kane walking back to the ring, or going backstage and then grabbing the Ted Turner Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award trophy or bust. It was a bust of Ted Turner and throwing it into the crowd. So
the thing about it, Rich, is he goes back and forth from babyface to heel during the show every time he's on the show.
Yeah, I don't get it.
There's never any consistency. Like he's out there chasing pops and being a babyface and making decisions that make the fans happy, right? Like he goes against the heels when he makes a decision. Then in the pre-tape, he's a heel.
Yeah.
And he's making decisions that go against the it fucking sucks. And it's not good. And not just because it's Bischoff and I hate him, but because it just sucks. Because it's not good. None of it's good. There's no consistency. He flip-flops constantly with no rhyme or reason. But unfortunately, I think we're stuck with him for a while. They're going to keep. It's a waste of money to book this fucking clown. I don't know what they think they're getting out of it, but he's going to be in a feud with Cesar Duran, I guess, because Duran stole the confidential plans that say confidential in giant red letters across the front.
Right, which is, like the old classic, sack of money with the dollar sign on it. If you're a cat burglar, it's like, maybe find something a little bit more discreet than the bag with the dollar signs.
So Cesar goes into the room with all the fucking marijuana clouds. And he's poking around and he's looking and he's like, "Ooh, this is the one." And it's because it says confidential across
confidential in big
giant red letters.
Yeah.
And then he tiptoes out of there.
Yeah.
So, do you care at all?
No.
With those confidential
Who would care? Why would anybody care? We've never been.
To ask.
We've never been given a reason to care about that thing, right? Like.
Well, let's talk about some stuff that you might care about. So Esfinge and Templario.
Yeah.
So they beat Sky Team. Sky Team's the hot act in Arena Mexico right now. In this case, it was Mascara Dorada and Mystico. And what it did was it set up Templario versus Mystico for the middleweight title. Are you into that, Rich Creek?
Yeah. That's all good. Like every MLW show, anytime the luchadors come out, I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. I like this.
Yeah.
So, this was all good. It was a well-worked match. The crowd was hot. Everybody was into it. Mystico was over it. Hey, MLW SuperFight 6. Let's go.
Now, you could chop off automatically at least a quarter star from what Templario Mystico is going to be versus what it would be anywhere else.
Of course.
It's going to happen in MLW, and it's going to be for the middleweight title. Kenta was perfectly fine here against Kevin Knight. And the right guy went over. And I know people are probably thinking, what are you talking about? Well, Kevin Knight is not going to be in MLW for long. Okay. I talked about this 2 weeks ago when they did the taping when AEW was in Atlanta or just outside of Atlanta. Okay. Kevin Knight met with Tony Khan and Rocky Romero. I don't know what the result of that meeting was. It was over a week ago now. There hasn't been any follow-up news from any news sources that I'm aware of. What I can tell you definitively is that he met with them after he worked that, I think, ROH match with AR Fox. Okay. So obviously I know that there's mutual interest between AEW and Kevin Knight. I would think that WWE is interested in Kevin Knight because why wouldn't they be interested in Kevin Knight? So my point here is Kenta beating Kevin Knight is the right move because Kenta cut a promo saying he's coming for the world title. And Kevin Knight's not going to be there much longer. So, that's the right booking call. And Kenta, he's not the Noah Kenta. He doesn't put in that, but he puts in better than New Japan effort when he's in MLW. So, he's perfectly fine. But then from there, the show falls apart.
Yeah, sure. It's just terrible.
Honey Trap match. I mean, the Honey Trap match, it's the old tar and feather territory gimmick, but they used honey.
Mm-hmm.
So Brett Ryan Gosselin got
honeyed
feathers dumped on it. It was hilarious, Rich. It was so funny.
Yeah.
I so
slapping the knees. Now he's got feathers all over him. Oh my God. Wow.
Man, so Paul London and the fat actor, the hell's his name?
Paul Walter Hauser, yeah.
Yeah. They dumped the fucking feathers on Gosselin and whatever. Donovan Dijak and Tom Lawler put everybody to sleep.
They had a longer match than almost every match on that New Japan New Beginning in Osaka show. 15-24 for Donovan Dijak and Tom Lawler. Yeah. Bad.
Oh my God, Dijak fucking stinks.
He's terrible, man. He
stinks
so bad.
Janai Kai won a squash, and then the 3-way for the world title. Kojima did nothing. And,
he did.
He did nothing.
I should have done a bump count. I forgot he was in the match for a while, and then he came in and did a clothesline. I was like, oh yeah, Satoshi Kojima's in this match. So yeah, I would love to do a bump count on Kojima. It's very low.
So did they explain why Bischoff put Alex Kane in the match since he's fired?
Matt Riddle brought him back. Now I don't know what authority Matt Riddle has to bring
but what
him
I'm saying
back.
Is,
why he was in the match, I don't know. No, I don't know.
Bischoff fired him.
Yes.
So why is Matt Riddle able to bring? It doesn't. Why am I even bothering? I don't know why I'm bothering. It's incredible. Like, we're just enjoying ourselves with our replacement level wrestling in MLW, and Bischoff has to come and ruin everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just his presence. Like, I know he's not booking this shit, but just like his presence, and it mucks everything up, and it just ruins everything. Like this whole Alex Kane story that doesn't make any sense.
He's fired, but he's always around, and then he's fired, then he's just brought back, and he's fired, and now he's in a title match.
Did you see the funny continuity error where somebody was like, during one of the pre-tapes with Bischoff. Someone was like, Eric, hurry up. Alex Kane. He's wreaking havoc. Right?
Yeah.
So Eric's like, oh, I got to go. And that's when he emptied the office. And that's when Durant snuck in like a thief in the night and stole the confidential papers. But then they didn't. The next segment was like Janai Kai versus Mila Moore or whatever. It wasn't even. It wasn't Alex Kane at all.
We never saw him create chaos backstage, right?
No, there was nothing happening. Like it never.
He just came out later, wrestled.
Yeah, he just came out later and wrestled his match, even though he's fired. Like there was a massive continuity error.
Oh, God.
I don't know, and then, yeah, I don't know. I don't care. I changed my mind.
Whatever you're gonna say, it doesn't matter, and you shouldn't care about it. Yeah,
they're running me off, and I used to. This was just fun little, replacement level wrestling.
I'm getting close. I'm getting pretty close now. I'm not there. But I'm getting close.
Like I don't even want to make the point I was going to make. I don't care. Like that's it's not what you want. It's not ideal. But they taped too, right? When's that? That's airing. I
don't know.
Here's what we're getting on the one that's going to air next week or something. Okamura versus Ariel Dominguez. Kushida versus Neon. And then for the open weight title, Matt Justice in a 4-way, which I'm sure is going to be plundery, with Bob Fish, Akira, and Paul Walter Howard for some reason.
God.
So
that sounds awful.
So that's what they taped in Atlanta. And then, of course, we forgot the big news. Battle Riot is now for the title. Not for a title shot.
Yes. Eric Bischoff pretended that he came up with the name Battle Riot, which is great in this segment.
What was that about?
Yeah, I know, because he's like, I got an idea, Matt, since you like to create controversy. I like to create controversy too, Matt. So what we're going to do is you're not going to have a title match against one person. No. You're not going to have a title match against 2 people. Not even 3 people, Matt. It's going to be 39 people. Sounds interesting. I'm going to call it, I don't know, Battle Riot. And I was like, they've had 7 Battle Riots. Like, it's a well-established gimmick.
He goes, I'm going to call it. And then he's tapping his chin with his index finger.
Right.
Battle Riot. Like he came up with it.
They've had Battle Riots years.
Which shows, number one, he didn't know MLW existed before Court Bauer picked up the phone. Number 2, they didn't prepare him for the promo at all.
Yeah,
because he's acting like it's another one, like when he invented Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
and like when he invented the fucking Feast or Fired.
Yeah,
in MLW, whatever they called it.
Yeah, they said it's called the Battle Royal Battle Riot, and he was like, I'm going to say that I came up with this, not knowing that there's been 7 other Battle Riots before this.
Right, that's exactly what happened. Like he thought it was a new match, and he was going to put himself over like he invented it, because he's the match inventor.
Of course, yeah. But
he's the innovator.
It's so good because he's like, Matt, we're going to call it, and like you said, he goes
tapping the chin, tapping the chin with his index
Battle
finger.
Riot. I like the sound of that. I hope you do too, Matt. And it's just like, you mean the very, very regular Battle Royal they have every year in MLW? Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, Riddle's like, no, man. Well, that's okay, dude. I'm just gonna have to beat 39 other men. This is ridiculous.
So bad.
Fucking ridiculous.
We got pepperoni pizza and sausage pizza, man. Have some.
Yeah. And cupcake pizza. All right. Cupcake pizza. Lawler going along with this. Eating the fucking cupcake, trying to get Bischoff to eat it. Hilarious. It was so funny.
It was so good.
With the smoke in the room, too.
So much smoke. Yeah, so much the smoke.
Edibles and smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Edibles and smoke. Because they're really high.
Yeah, very
These
high.
men are so stoned. You don't know how stoned these men are. So dumb. Why can't we have one American wrestling promotion?
We can't. We're not allowed.
That doesn't do the bad backstage WWE bullshit. Why can't we have one? Just one. We can't have one, Rich?
No.
Like the Metallica song, we can't have one.
No.
You too, if you prefer. We're going to make it through the year with MLW? What do you think?
I don't know.
The odds don't feel great.
The odds are not in its favor. No. That's because Selena will be back at some point soon too, and that's we're gonna have Bischoff, Selena. Maybe it's the father or the kidnapper. No, we know the father. I guess the kidnapper is who we're looking for. I don't know. I don't care. Who cares?
We're looking for the kidnapper. The father's kidnapped.
Yeah.
The father's kidnapped. I think they got the baby back because remember the baby was in the crib when they.
They do have the baby back. Yeah,
but the father's.
Oh, that's right. The baby's back, but the father's gone. Yes.
That's the best looking man I've ever seen. He's gone.
Yeah.
That's
the best looking man I've ever seen.
Yeah. Which was a great line. Perfect timing too. But that guy's missing.
Yes.
Whatever his name is.
They gave him a name, and I don't know what it is, and I don't care. Yeah.
And Cesar's like, why don't you just forget about him? It doesn't matter.
These men, they come and go. They come and go, Selena.
Yeah. It's your baby's father. Right. Forget about him.
Yeah. He simply ran away. But these men, they come and go. They come and go.
Yeah, don't worry about him. He's an asshole. You don't forget about him. There's many, many men. I'll take that over Bischoff any day.
Yes, at least believe it or not, I will take the Selena De La Renta, Dario Cueto universe over...
There's a schlock factor to it where at least it's funny.
Yeah.
And
Caesar doesn't take...
You fat fuck!
And he doesn't take credit for coming up with already well-established wrestling matches. So,
well, yeah, and he knows what's going on because he's been around. Like, he's not. Yeah, he knows what's going on in the promotion. My luchadors, how come he doesn't come out with his luchadors anymore?
Yeah, he doesn't come out with the luchadors anymore. No.
Yeah, but they will when they're in Cicero. I can promise you that. When do they come?
May.
Lucha Azteca Lucha in May.
Yeah, May, I believe again. Yeah,
that'll be. Now, can we leave Bischoff off of that one at least?
Oh, my God. If he's there, I'm not going. I can't.
He's going to want to start unmasking everybody. He already tried that on his first night.
Yes, he did that very recently.
You might get Templario versus Mystico on that show.
Okay. Well, I'll go for that, I guess.
Didn't they totally blow off? Didn't they set up someone else versus... Hold on a second. Go back to that one shot for a second here. Maybe it wasn't one shot.
Nobody cares.
They set up someone else against Mystico, and now they're just totally. Was it Neon?
Sure. Yes.
I think it might have been Neon, but now they forgot about that. Now they're just doing Templario.
Yeah, it's better anyway.
You don't like Neon. You've never liked Neon.
He's fine. He's fine. But Templario's
What's your
better.
problem with Neon?
Templario's
your problem with Neon?
Objectively better. Templarios objectively better.
I don't like your tone when you talk about Neon.
Very dismissive of Neon, yeah.
Yeah, you've never, you always shit on Neon. I want to get to the bottom of this. Why don't you just say Neon sucks if you think Neon sucks? Are you afraid the Lucha guys are going to come after you?
No.
No?
Those guys are nice. They're a nice crew. The Lucha fans are great.
Yeah.
Of all the fan bases, they seem to be the least crazy.
Oh yeah, the least scary for sure.
Yeah.
The least crazy, the least scary. So this isn't like a Joshi thing where you're afraid to say if a Joshi.
Yeah, right. No. If I thought Neon sucked, I would say Neon sucks because I'm not worried.
Well, the girl with the tail's coming to MLW.
She is. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Finally, you're going to say, is that the one with the tail? And I would say, yes, Joe. Yes, Shoko Nakajima is indeed. Yeah.
When Mario picks up the acorn, that's what she is, right?
Yeah. The Tanuki or whatever.
With the raccoon tail or whatever.
Right. That's
when,
Shoko
when
Nakajima.
When Mario turns into a furry, that's what she is supposed to be. Because she doesn't just have the tail; she's got the paws.
She's got the paws and the ears, and it's the whole get up,
which is utterly ridiculous. Okay, but she can go. She can work.
She's a good worker.
I like her work, even though she's got paws and a tail
and ears.
Look, Habu has a tail. I like him,
and you love Habu, yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while, but so a tail isn't a prerequisite to me hating you. But that doesn't mean her gimmick isn't preposterous and probably perverted in some way. I'm not investigating to find out, but I'm willing to bet it's perverted. Are there like Great O'Khan like people who want to fuck like the raccoon furry thing? Like,
I'm not the guy to ask about that. Probably.
Probably.
I mean, yes, but I'm not the guy to ask. Yeah. Yes, I will answer your question definitively. Yes, I'm sure there is, but I don't know the lore behind that. Or
I just feel like that gimmick and character is based in something perverted. That's a safe bet, right?
Always.
Like, even if she isn't necessarily presenting it that way. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You know, there's someone beating off in their room to it anyway somewhere. Because, like, at specifically the tail and the paws.
All right, we've reached our expiration date. This has gotten out of control. Anyway, that is it for us tonight. Make sure you listen on Saturday night, immediately following Grand Slam Australia. We're going to be doing Instant Reaction Live, $10 tier. The minute that show goes off the air, we'll be getting ready to get up here. $10 tier, flagshippatreon.com. Instant Reaction Live, the best post pay-per-view show in the game. And hell, well, shit, now it's going to be the post whatever this show is. We're treating it like a pay-per-view, even though Tony's going to call it a TV show or whatever. But hey, we're going to treat it like a pay-per-view. Instant Reaction Live this Saturday for Grand Slam Australia. $10 tier, flagshippatreon.com. We'll see you guys on Saturday night. And that is it for us here on the Flagship. That is Joe. I am Rich. We'll talk to you again next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.